My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 876, 100 Days in Europe. The next day, medical center. Ward. Dr. Duncan. How is it? Cinderella's sister and Prince Charming looked at Adam expectantly. The tumor has shrunk as expected. Adam held the MRI film taken today, pointed at the tumor on it and smiled. At this rate, we can perform surgery around Thanksgiving and remove the entire tumor. Thank God. Cinderella's sister and Prince Charming both shouted in surprise. From being unable to have surgery and waiting to die before, to being able to have surgery now, this is definitely a miracle. Thank Peggy. Thank Hades. Adam smiled in his heart, told Carter a few words, asked him to take care of the patient at any time, and call him immediately if there is any situation, and then left. He is very busy. Not only does he have to complete the hard target of saving lives and increasing life every day, but now he has added the task of sorting out data and writing papers. Before the operation, Adam silently said in his heart, I will have surgery today and be on the cover of the Lancet next week. It was just borrowing the poisonous milk effect of the king of poisonous milk returning to China next week and a certain singer's crazy desire to make the headlines. In a week, the paper was written in time, but the data was not convincing enough. When writing an article to be published in the 4 major international medical journals, one must be extra careful. If it is rejected, that would be bad. The 4 major international medical journals, 2 are from the United States and 2 are from the United Kingdom. They are the New England Journal of Medicine and the Journal of the American Medical Association in the United States, and the Lancet and the British Medical Journal in the United Kingdom. Among them, the New England Journal of Medicine, although it has the name of New England, was actually founded in Boston. Its influence has changed with the status of the United States, and it has always ranked first in the world. It stands to reason that Adam should give priority to submitting his paper to the New England Journal of Medicine. But there is a saying in the medical community, Lancet outside, New England inside. Although the New England Journal of Medicine is also a comprehensive medical journal, its focus is on internal medicine. As for the Lancet, as soon as you hear the name, you know that the focus is on surgery. Although Adam's clinical research project involves oncology, the focus is still on surgical neurosurgery. Therefore, it is more appropriate to submit to the Lancet, which represents the scalpel. Walk out of the ward. Adam saw a scene that made him smile. It was Dr. Burke and Christina meeting. Christina. Dr. Burke, what can I do for you? Christina's tone was full of sarcasm. Obviously, she had already asked the fatal question raised by Adam, and did not get the answer she wanted. Nothing. Seeing Christina like this, Dr. Burke also got angry, pursed his lips, and stopped talking. Although this is a problem between an engaged couple, it is more of a problem in the medical profession. As a top cardiothoracic surgeon, he has his own persistence. If he and Christina really completed such a scientific research project, he felt that he could only sign his own name, because he did not think that Christina could provide him with a great contribution that she, a first-year resident, could sign. So there is no doubt that he would not let her steal his glory just because she is his fiancée. This is cheating. This is a crime. Over there, Meredith and Dr. Shept encountered the same problem. Although Dr. Shept was not as straight-laced as Dr. Burke and kept chasing Meredith to explain, he only cunningly comforted her from the side and did not make any substantial concessions. Obviously, like Dr. Burke, he did not think that his girlfriend Meredith, as a first-year resident, could provide him with a great contribution that would allow her to sign her name. When the beloved little daughter and girlfriend fell into the river at the same time, who should be saved first? Of course, the little daughter. If the girlfriend is gone, they can always find another one. With such a lovely little daughter, they probably don't need to look for it, and there will be a peerless beauty with overflowing maternal love who will take the initiative to chase after her and ask to be the stepmother of the lovely little daughter. As the father of such a daughter, they can have everything. Adam. Dr. Shept walked to Dr. Burke's side, looked at Christina and Meredith, who were walking side by side, and walked away, looked at each other, and felt helpless. When he saw Adam turning around and leaving, he gritted his teeth and shouted, "Ha ha!" Adam could only stamp his feet and greet with a smile. He really has to bear some of this blame. In the next few weeks, Adam put most of his energy on Cinderella's condition. All the data had been sorted out. He just needed to wait for the tumor to be removed before he could submit the article to the Lancet. What made him helpless was that Christina and Dr. Burke, the engaged couple, were completely at loggerheads. No matter how they tried to persuade them, they just wouldn't talk to each other. According to Dr. Burke, this is a game. Whoever speaks first loses, and the winner will have supreme power. That is to say, if Dr. Burke wins, he can even let Christina call him daddy. Meredith and Dr. Shep didn't play that big, but when it came to this, they had a small quarrel every 3 days and a big quarrel every 5 days. Both sides tacitly didn't put whether to go to bed or not in the struggle of contradictions. According to Penny, this should be the most powerful weapon for women, except that it was ineffective on Sheldon. It was 100% effective on other men, but here, it would hurt the enemy by 800 and hurt yourself by 3000, so Meredith was unwilling to use it. But Dr. Shep didn't feel much better either. Whenever Christina was free, whether he was still in bed or not, she would come over early in the morning or late at night, lie down on the other side, and chat with her best friend Meredith, which seriously affected his sleep. Fortunately, Christina soon understood his feelings, because Meredith's best friend from college came. "Adam, this is my good friend Sadie. She is a new intern." Meredith was hugged by a blonde beauty around the neck, and introduced to Adam. "Sadie, this is Adam." "I know, the famous Adam's hand." Sadie's eyes were full of teasing. Adam smiled and didn't say anything. Not everyone can enjoy Adam's hand. "You're dreaming." Meredith took her best friend to visit the hospital. "Why don't you go?" Adam looked at Christina, who came close to him and watched the pair of best friends leave with him. One of them is the god of death, the other is the devil, and they are very close to each other. "Who am I? There is no place for me." Christina was jealous to the bone. They laugh together all the time and say some inexplicable things. It's just that the two of them went on a 100-day tour of Europe before graduating from college and going to medical school. Is it necessary to laugh so mysteriously and exaggeratedly? Of course it is. Adam laughed. Think about Meredith's personality, and then think about European customs. Their 100-day trip to Europe. Haha. Believe me, it is definitely more exaggerated than you can imagine. You really can't interfere with this, and there's really no place for you. Christina. Chapter 877, New Skills. Medical Center. Adam was happy to see Christina being jealous of Meredith instead of Dr. Burke, but then his eyes fixed. He saw the chief of surgery walking towards him with Meredith, his amazing best friend. She's quite talented. Adam knew it instantly. Originally, she was able to come in at a time when interns were not being recruited, which showed that she had good qualities. Now, the chief of surgery was personally leading them to him. This person was obviously not an ordinary person. At least she had to be a senior director of the medical center's board of directors. Dr. Duncan, the chief of surgery, came over with a smile on his face and discussed with Adam, "I heard that you are very busy recently. Even the interns under your command have no time to participate in the battle for the holy grail of surgery." Sadie is Meredith's good friend and an excellent intern. After graduation, she has been working in the morgue for more than a year and has accumulated a lot of work experience. Do you think it would be possible to take her under your wing? By the way, she can help you share some chores. Sadie smiled charmingly at Adam. "Since you, the chief, have asked, and you are a good friend of Meredith." Adam smiled and said, "Of course I can give her a chance, but do you mind if I ask a few questions? After all, I don't know her condition yet." "Of course, ask whatever you want." The chief of surgery had an expression of "you can do whatever you want, don't worry about me." "Sadie, how to deal with pulmonary embolism?" Adam smiled and looked at the woman nicknamed Devil by Meredith. Devil. Sadie was stunned for a moment. "Okay, this is a bit esoteric." Adam smiled and said, "Only excellent residents should know this. Although you and Meredith are from the same class, you haven't practiced yet." "Let's change the question. If you are asked to do an appendectomy, how would you do it? First, mark the incision. The location is 1/3 of the distance from the upper hip spine to the navel. Follow the colon to find the appendix. Devil Sadie stumbled as she spoke. As Adam smiled and the head of surgery looked at her, she could no longer laugh. This is the simplest operation. An excellent surgical intern can try it as soon as he arrives. But she still couldn't explain it in full. With this theoretical level, she is a complete academic failure. Without the comprehensive quality score, she can't really be called an excellent intern. No wonder she has to work in the morgue for more than a year. This is probably because the corpses in the morgue can't speak, so she can operate the knife at will. But even so, if Devil Sadie is good enough, after playing with morgue dissection for a year, she should be much better than the average intern. But she didn't. This is very telling. How about letting Meredith take her to get familiar with the hospital first? Adam looked at the chief of surgery politely. I think it's okay. The chief of surgery nodded without hesitation. Sadie, go find Dr. Gray. The Devil Sadie left with a stiff face. Chief, I thought we were going to compete for the first place in the teaching hospital in the United States. Adam laughed. Alas, the chief of surgery sighed. Sadie's father ... Just pretend she doesn't exist. Adam nodded and didn't embarrass the chief anymore. It's not easy to sit in his position. There are many favors that can't be ignored if you want to. I heard that the Devil Sadie wanted to be your intern, but you persuaded her to give up. After a while, Christina came over, her little eyes full of pleasure. Don't look for happiness with me, Adam teased. If you really don't like her, go find her and confront her directly. Why should I confront her? Christina said stubbornly. Just because she is so nervous and laughs at me with Meredith. Adam. At this time, Meredith also came over. Sadie is a good person. Can you give her another chance? What are you talking about? Adam smiled and said, if it's professional level, as long as she is good, I can certainly give her a chance. But if it's a team sports talent, then I'm sorry, you know my rules. Meredith paused. No way? Seeing her bestie's expression, Christina couldn't help but think of Adam's teasing about her bestie's 100-day trip to Europe, and her eyes widened. Meredith, you two are going to travel in Europe. You won't really sleep all over Europe, right? No, what nonsense are you talking about? Meredith was so angry that she wanted to cover her bestie's mouth. Not really? Adam showed an expression of advising you to be sincere. What do you have to do? Meredith said angrily. Why do you have to care about things in the past? Who hasn't been young before? I've been young before, but not this young before, Christina said frankly. Normally, she wouldn't embarrass her bestie like this. These secrets that can't be told are all communicated privately, but now her position has been replaced by someone else. There's no time for besties to talk privately, so naturally they can talk at any time. Alas, Adam sighed suddenly. What's wrong? Meredith said madly. I'm just sad. Adam sighed. You know I have a high-definition image memory, and I can accurately judge whether two people are related by blood based on their facial features, right? Why are you talking about this now? Meredith's heart skipped a beat. Christina was stunned, staring at Adam's mouth, excited and nervous. This ability is about to be useless, Adam said seriously. If everyone is as young as you, puff. Christina burst into laughter. Adam Duncan. Meredith almost exploded. This was a different way of mocking her for sleeping all over Europe in 100 days. It was not like she had never heard of this kind of statement specifically targeting girls like her. To this, she only wanted to say, there is absolutely no medical evidence for this. I'm sorry. Adam was surprised that Meredith was about to break down, and apologized quickly. Meredith was fine. The main thing was that if this word got to Dr. Shep's ears, it would not be good. As the legendary heroine, even if someone pointed at her nose and called all kinds of ugly words, such as oyster and bitch, she could forgive the other person afterwards. Because for a guy who has a 100% chance of getting drunk and losing his belt, this is too common. In fact, she often laughs at herself like this. It is very similar to Penny, who gave up on herself after having an affair with Rajesh and wanted to go out with her best friend Amy, who knew who she had done it and came to support her. Penny teased herself, let's go to a place where no one has seen her naked body, but we have to drive for a while. Adam's roundabout ridicule was only this level. and it was really not too sharp. Now Adam knew that Meredith not only had that skill attribute, but now she had a new skill, sleeping in a European dream for 100 days, winning the reputation of being unfaithful by many people. Penny was just a sister in front of her. She could be 10 pennies like her. Meredith, you are worthy of it. Chapter 878, The Light of Texas. Let's not talk about Meredith Benz's dream story. After that, the devil Sadie did not approach Adam without knowing the tact. They were all decent people. If one's professional skills were not up to standard, it would be like sitting on pins and needles in front of people who were particular about professional skills. Even if she wanted to be undignified, a few questions helped her to be decent. Adam was in a good mood, thanks to Pluto. Cinderella's condition has been relatively stable, although the immune serum inevitably eroded the tissues around the tumor to a certain extent. But according to Peggy's calculations, the degree of erosion has been reduced to the greatest extent. There are symptoms such as headaches and nausea, but they are all mild. The only thing that makes Adam more worried is the condition of Cinderella's Prince Charming. Fairy tale-like romantic love is beautiful, but it is spotless. Now there are more secular elements, plus time. Adam is more worried about the condition of the Prince Charming. How much has the romance in the other person's heart faded? That's right, Adam is sure that this romance must have faded a lot in the dust of reality during the more than 20 days in the hospital. If it was just ordinary dust, it would be fine, but if it was the ash after a volcanic eruption, Prince Charming would instantly turn into a gray rhino. Adam only hoped that his romance could last until Cinderella had the tumor removed. Otherwise, if it affected Cinderella's mentality and then affected Cinderella's ecology, then Adam swore never to believe in fairy tales again. Time came to Thanksgiving. Cinderella's tumor shrank to the expected level and could be operated on. Adam took Peggy and entered the operating room again. This time, Adam did not recite the poisonous milk. Dr. Adler, did you see it? When Cinderella's skull was opened and the shrunken malignant glioma was removed, Peggy was prompted to look at the surrounding eroded tissue. Yeah, Peggy followed Adam and watched from all angles. Everyone looked at each other, all a little speechless. Watching the situation inside the skull is nothing, but Adam and Peggy's posture of watching is really puzzling. In fact, they have not watched Wool and Wei's Yuan. Otherwise, one would immediately think of the dice game between Lao Bei and the fingerless Xuan Yuan, where the fingerless Xuan Yuan cheated and changed the points, causing him to lose 2 games in a row. After the third game, when the dice rolled the largest number 666 again, he first opened the lid of the cup to let everyone witness and cut off the chance for the fingerless Xuan Yuan to secretly change his points again. At that time, the people around, with cameras and mobile phones, pointed at the 666 on the table from all angles and took pictures for evidence. Adam and Peggy did the same thing, but they didn't use cameras and mobile phones. Their eyes were the lenses. They were trying to remember these pictures and images, compare them with intact tissues, analyze the erosion data, and prepare for the optimization of the virus and the improvement of the serum effect. The operation was a success. At the end, there was a round of applause and cheers. In the observation room on the second floor, not only the director of surgery, but also the dean had arrived, and they all applauded and cheered with smiles on their faces. Dr. Duncan, I look forward to the publication of your paper. As soon as Adam came out of the operating room, the dean and others were waiting outside, with colorful faces, sincerely expressing their congratulations. Thank you. After the greetings, Adam left with Peggy. Today is Thanksgiving. After achieving such a great success, Adam decided to spend a day of luxury, relax, and have a good time. Last year's Thanksgiving was spent with Monica and the others, but this year, little Adam was born, and the Bing family is complete. The 3 of them are going to have a warm and happy Thanksgiving. Adam. Before they left, Ted came over. Ted? Adam was a little surprised. Why are you here? I heard that you are doing that virus-eliminating cancer surgery. Ted looked at Adam expectantly. You want to ask if Anna can have such an operation, right? Adam understood and said apologetically, I'm sorry, Ted. Anna has primary brain cancer and has already had surgery. The clinical research we are doing now is aimed at malignant gliomas that cannot be operated on. Using viruses to make immune serum is only to shrink the tumor and enable surgery. It does not completely eliminate the tumor. Anna's later chemotherapy had a similar effect, and now it is only a small step towards malignant gliomas. Even for malignant gliomas, there is still a long way to go for this targeted new therapy to mature, not to mention expanding into other tumors. Can't we change the research direction? Ted's eyes darkened. For Anna? Sorry. Adam shook his head. It is already a blessing in disguise to be able to take a small step in the field of malignant gliomas so quickly. If we rashly change the direction at this time, we will get no progress on either end. Seeing Ted's sadness, Adam comforted him. Don't be so pessimistic. I have taken the first step now. There will definitely be people who will follow me and use the same method to study other fields. I will focus on the research of primary brain cancer. It can only be like this. Ted sighed. I hope that Anna can wait for this miracle drug in her lifetime. Adam's mouth twitched. He didn't know what to say after hearing this. If Ted didn't know what poison milk was, Adam would seriously suspect that Ted had a new love. I'm leaving. Anna is still waiting for me at home. I came out secretly. Don't tell her, Ted said and left in a hurry. Let's go too. After Adam told the little guy to take care of Cinderella, he took Peggy back to the apartment. Last year, it was mainly Monica who was busy. This year, Adam took action himself. He directed his assistant Lisa and others to follow Karen and run around. Then he sat there, chatting with Juno while providing some data to Peggy. Peggy is amazing. Juno looked at Peggy sitting next to Adam and writing a paper and sighed. Yes, Adam nodded in agreement. Peggy was responsible for the mathematical model and related calculations of the paper. Will it be submitted to the Lancet after the holidays? Juno asked. Yes, Adam smiled and said, I hope it can be published before Christmas. It's only 1 month away from Christmas, Juno calculated. But with your fame and the quality of this article, the Lancet will definitely expedite it. Maybe you will win this year's Weekly Award. The Weekly Award is an award that the Lancet just established in 1996. It is awarded to the best paper in the field of medical and health care of the year. It doesn't matter whether you win the award or not. It's all for the advancement of human medical and health care. Adam smiled reservedly. That's true. Juno smiled and said, you and Peggy are really the light of mankind. Together with Sheldon, the 3 future scientific giants, our place, as your hometown, will probably become a tourist attraction in the future. It's better not. Adam shook his head and smiled. I don't want my parents' lives to be disturbed. Chapter 879, Devil's Operation. Adam's apartment. Once the paper is published, Sheldon will definitely not be able to sleep. Peggy was writing a paper nearby. When she heard Juno talking about another Texas light that was not here, she couldn't help but look up and smile. That's true. Juno also knew Sheldon, and nodded. He is still a child, and he can't stand others being better than him, especially when you suppress him again and again. I guess he will fight. Adam smiled and said, less trains, comics, science fiction novels, games, TV. Oh, the most important thing is to sleep a little less. That's enough. Haha. Peggy and Juno laughed knowingly. Sheldon goes to bed at 9 o'clock in the evening without fail, gets up at 6:15 in the morning, and sleeps for more than 9 hours a day. When he was 11 years old and in college, he went to bed at 7:30 in the evening. He sleeps so much and has so many time-consuming hobbies, it is conceivable how much time this smart brain has wasted. Just like that, at the age of 15, he got a doctorate degree and is pursuing a second doctorate degree. Together with Peggy, one from the West and the other from the East, they are known as 2 young genius scientists. This is also what Sheldon has always been proud of, using the least time and the fastest efficiency to achieve unprecedented achievements. Look at Adam, he rarely sleeps. Under the leadership of Adam, Peggy also sleeps much less than before. When Adam and Peggy's papers are published, Sheldon will definitely feel the pressure. Unhappy, then perhaps without the female assistant's forced personal control, he will also start to work hard. If the time spent on hobbies is slightly reduced, achievements that did not exist in the original time and space should emerge. This possibility is very high. Of course, the premise is that he can overcome his own homeostasis. Adam joked. With his IQ, He can easily achieve what most people can't imagine in their lifetime, but it's really a bit difficult to overcome the habits he has developed. He will, Juno affirmed. All his habits are set by himself. It's not that they can't be changed, but it depends on whether he wants to change. Under normal circumstances, he won't change. That's because of arrogance. Now in front of you, he is almost unable to be arrogant. Only by changing to gain more and higher achievements can he maintain the capital of arrogance. Then it is inevitable that he will change for this. Adam and Peggy both nodded in agreement. Rajesh once complained that Sheldon was too arrogant. If Sheldon had a superpower, it would definitely be arrogance, and his nickname would be Captain Arrogance. Sheldon did not deny arrogance, but corrected his supervillain nickname, Dr. Arrogance. Facing the people he looks down on, all his habits are universal truths and must not be touched, unless there is force majeure. But what are habits when facing people he respects or even likes? As long as you want, you can dress up in a maid outfit in public in a matter of minutes. Adam has prepared the camera. Time soon came to the evening. Adam ate the Thanksgiving dinner prepared by Chef Karen while talking about interesting things. The atmosphere was very good. Even Karen, who usually doesn't talk much, echoed Juno and told interesting things about Massachusetts General Hospital. Ding-ling-ling. Everyone was talking and laughing when Adam's cell phone rang. No way. Adam shook his head and took out his cell phone from his pocket. He found that it was not the little guy calling. He felt relieved and answered the call. Dr. Sloan, why are you calling me at this time? Adam, come to the hospital quickly. Help me, hurry up, I need help. As soon as the call was connected, Mark Sloan's anxious call for help came from the other end of the phone, which was very urgent. What's going on? Explain it clearly. Adam frowned. After hearing the general idea, Adam's mouth twitched, and he almost laughed out loud. He nodded and agreed. Wait a minute, I'll be there soon. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. What's wrong? Juno asked when Adam hung up the phone. I have to go to the hospital first to have an operation. Adam stood up and smiled. What kind of operation do you have to go to now? Juno was surprised. Didn't you say it's not a big deal? No way. Adam smiled and said, for us, it's not a big deal, but for the patient, it's a big deal. As for what kind of operation, of course, it's the operation you like the most and are the best at. After that, he laughed and went out. What operation do you like the most and are the best at? Peggy asked curiously. Haha. Juno quickly reacted, shook her head and laughed. He's teasing me. Seeing that Peggy was still curious, she told her about a classic operation that she was interested in medicine in high school and that Adam happened to see her watching. Peggy laughed dumbly. Medical center. Thank God. Adam, you are finally here. Help me. Adam pushed open the door of the lounge and saw Mark Sloan, who was shirtless and covered with a blanket, with a look of pain and fear on his face. Your fracture is obvious. Why don't you ask Dr. Tullis? Adam walked over, lifted the blanket, examined it, and said very professionally, don't be ridiculous. Mark Sloan almost cried. You are the best doctor, and I heard that you have handled similar cases before. Adam, can you hurry up? There will be sequelae if you delay any longer. I will ask someone to prepare the operating room, otherwise you will be disabled for life. Adam said, went out to ask someone to arrange the operating room, and then walked in and asked seriously, is it Meredith? No. Mark shook his head. Haha. Adam had a look of disbelief on his face. This kind of operation can't be hidden from anyone. Afterwards, everyone who should know will know. Don't accuse me of gossip. I'm just reminding you, if it's really Meredith, you should run away immediately after the operation tonight. Otherwise, when Dr. Shept hears the news at work tomorrow, he will react like everyone else and think that it was Meredith who did it, because she has a history of cheating on people. And you also have a history of cheating on people. You can't blame others for thinking that way. It's really not her. Mark cried out in pain. Who is it? Adam frowned. It can't be Little Gray. No. Mark naturally knew Adam's rules. At this time, he relied on Adam very much. How could he dare to offend Adam and make Adam feel resentful? He simply revealed his cards directly. It's Sadie. Oh, Adam was relieved when he heard it. It's good that it's not Lexi. Otherwise, he had trained her for several months with great difficulty. It would be a waste of his training to kick her out like this. It's no wonder that Adam thought about it this way. It's true that the surname Gray has some kind of magic. Think about it, Lexi and Meredith had never met before, but when she first arrived that night, she took the initiative to flirt with Adam, and it was obvious that she was a real sister. Facts have proved that he did not wrongly accuse Meredith, although it was not her, nor her sister, it was her best friend who did it. Anyway, it's all related to her, there's no escape. Did you know that Meredith's nickname to Sadie is the Grim Reaper, and Sadie's nickname to Meredith is the Devil? Adam said playfully. There are only wrong names, not wrong nicknames. Is she a devil to you now? Mark, P.S. I have something to do tonight, so I will only update twice today. Please forgive me. Chapter 880 Rajesh, you're welcome. Medical Center. You are the devil. Mark wanted to say so, but the lives of both brothers depended on Adam, so he could only smile bitterly. People like him would never abandon or give up. If his brother really died in battle, he would rather die with him. Dr. Duncan, the operating room is ready. A nurse reminded him from outside the door. Let's go. Adam opened the door, carried Mark to the trolley, and then went to the operating room. Mark covered his face with a blanket. But such explosive news has already spread throughout the hospital. Although the anti-Mark Sloan Nurses Alliance did not deliberately target Mark at Adam's suggestion, it did not disband. Hearing this news now is simply the best Thanksgiving gift. Who did it? So cool. It must be Gray. Yes, she broke one last time too. That's a tumor. I just want to know if it's broken. Broken, but Gray and Gray aren't here tonight. Maybe they came secretly. No matter who did it, I just want to say, it's a great job. I agree. How did you do it? Don't think about it, or you will definitely not have a boyfriend in the future. The nurses were gossiping. Over there. Adam finished the operation quickly. It was just a small fracture. If Mark hadn't made such a fuss, any attending doctor on duty could have easily fixed it. The next day, Meredith came and immediately felt something was wrong. Everyone was looking at her. Someone in the distance was pointing and looking at her strangely. Fortunately, she was also a veteran. After a year of internship and 6 months of residency, such scenes were not the first or second time, and she was no longer surprised. Is it you? Christina suddenly appeared, dragged her to a deserted place, and asked. What? Meredith was confused. Mark broke. Did you do it? Christina gossiped. Mark broke? Meredith opened her mouth wide, then met her bestie's suspicious eyes, and said unhappily, it's not me. I don't know what happened at all. Oh, Christina breathed a sigh of relief, but was also very disappointed. If it was, then her bestie would be in trouble, but if it wasn't, then her desire to hear all kinds of in-depth details would also be in vain. What happened? Meredith asked. Christina said, let's go find Adam. Meredith became nervous after hearing this, because let alone others, even if she suddenly heard this, she would also doubt whether she did it after being drunk. It's like her style. You didn't drink last night? Christina also reacted, looking at her bestie suspiciously. You didn't do it after you were drunk? No, this time, although Meredith also refuted, she was not so sure. Christina's eyes immediately became weird. It's not her. When Adam came over, he was blocked by them and smiled, but it has something to do with her. Sadie. Meredith and Christina looked at each other and shouted in unison. It seems that you know your best friend very well. Adam looked at Meredith with interest. By the way, when you go to ask her, help me ask how she did it. Meredith turned and left. By the way, if you don't want to ask, you know the answer anyway. Just tell me directly, Adam said to Meredith. Devil Sadie. Her reputation is well deserved. Christina murmured. Do you feel familiar? Adam smiled and said, female intern, male attending doctor, broken. No wonder they are best friends. That was in the past. Christina corrected immediately. Adam smiled and didn't continue to tease her. Dr. Shep came to work and heard this explosive news. His face instantly turned green. As Adam guessed, the first person he thought of was Meredith, even if it was later reported that it was Sadie. He was also half believing and half doubting. No one else. As the only boy in the family, with several older sisters, he knew too well the extent to which his best friend could cover for her best friend. It's really me. Seeing that her best friend's relationship was in crisis because of her own affairs, the devil Sadie, who had no sense of shame about such things, took the initiative to show her cards and told a lot of details. This temporarily dispelled Dr. Shep's suspicion. "Don't look at him and Mark, who slept with his wife." Mark looked sincere that he would never do this again, but when he thought of his mother and so many sisters, they regarded Mark as a family member, and even Mark slept with their daughters-in-law and brothers and sisters. They didn't care and still treated Mark as before. He was very upset. He often wondered, who is the biological son of the Shep family? Thinking of the last time he saw his sister asked him to forgive Mark, and inadvertently revealed the convincing reason of he is Mark. What else do you expect him to do, who hasn't slept with Mark? He dared not overestimate Mark's integrity. "So it's the Three Kingdoms and yoga." Adam was relieved when he heard the details Sadie said. If Rajesh heard it, he would definitely say proudly, "You're welcome." George asked for leave and didn't come. His father didn't make it after all, and died of illness on Thanksgiving night. Adam took Carter and Lexi to make rounds. Lexi's blush didn't go away for a long time, because she was also one of the suspects. This made her very embarrassed and annoyed, secretly complaining about what her sister had done and what kind of people she had made friends with. "The little guy has been taking care of Cinderella." "Adam, can you increase your clinical research efforts?" The chief of surgery came over in disgust. "With the news of your success, the number of applicants has increased again. The demand in this area is huge. You can increase it as appropriate, but you can't let it go." Adam thought about it. The previous success was largely due to luck. This kind of surgery still needs to be explored slowly. It's not a good thing to expand rashly, although he succeeded this time, but it is still supervised by the Professional Ethics Committee. If more than 10 patients die in succession, this clinical research project will still be at risk of abortion. "That's true." The chief surgeon's enthusiasm faded a little. "You should make the decision. Let's set 2 operations a month for the time being." Adam pondered. To continue to advance clinical research, it requires both a sufficient frequency of surgery to accumulate data and time to study and improve these data. One considers trying to get closer to Cinderella's situation, controlling variables, and trying to replicate this success. As long as it succeeds, it can avoid the regulatory risks brought about by the continuous death of patients. One considers variables to improve the universality of clinical research. It takes time to optimize the virus. Adam has not forgotten that his most important goal is to cure diseases, save lives and increase life expectancy, which also requires a lot of time. Therefore, considering all factors, it is very necessary to control the frequency of scientific research. Later, when the success rate gradually increases, it will not be too late to slowly increase the number of operations. Chapter 881 Good Doctor Medical Center. "Adam, help me." The chief surgeon came closer to Adam. "Of course." Adam smiled helplessly. "As long as I can do it." Ever since the new viral serum therapy for malignant glioma achieved a breakthrough success in the 3rd Cinderella case, shocking the entire medical community, the chief surgeon often appeared around Adam. He made various requests from time to time. His attitude was amazing. After Adam refused, he would immediately leave without saying a word. But it still made Adam feel a little awkward, because he always refused others, especially a good boss. He always felt a little uncomfortable psychologically. "You can do it." The chief of surgery smiled and said, "Dr. Dixon will come today to perform a heart surgery. I hope you can do some public relations to show her the strength and sincerity of our hospital and keep her here." "Dr. Dixon." Adam was stunned. "Dr. Dixon, a famous cardiothoracic surgeon?" "Yes, that's her." The chief of surgery looked at Adam carefully and said, "As you become more and more successful, the reputation of our hospital will also rise, and we are expected to compete for the title of the first teaching hospital. You also know that medical resources have a siphoning phenomenon. Once we reach the top, all kinds of patients will flock to us. We need to prepare in advance." Leonard had a heart surgery and is still recuperating. After he comes back, he will not be as busy as before, not to mention that the work intensity will be greater in the future. "Adam, although you are inclined to cardiothoracic surgery, you are more like a generalist genius like Dr. House. You are very interested in cardiothoracic surgery, emergency, neurosurgery, orthopedics, pediatrics and other departments, and even urology. The key is that you are doing very well, but correspondingly, you cannot devote all your energy to cardiothoracic surgery. We need Dr. Dixon to join us to further strengthen our strength. Siphoning is also about us sucking others, not letting others suck us. So I hope you can help me keep Dr. Dixon. I'll try my best. Adam agreed with the chief of surgery. Further strengthening the hospital's siphoning ability would also be very beneficial to him, so he smiled. But Dr. Dixon is notoriously weird. I can't guarantee that I can impress her and keep her. As long as you are willing to show up. The chief of surgery smiled and said, if she doesn't want to work with such an excellent person like you, it's her loss, not ours. When will she come? Adam asked. It's almost time. The chief of surgery raised his hand to check the time, then looked at the stairs and reminded, she's coming. Adam looked in the direction of his sight and saw a middle-aged woman in red clothes and a red hat, holding a neatly folded white coat in her hands, standing there with a divergent look. Once someone approached her, she would subconsciously step aside. Dr. Dixon, welcome to the medical center. Adam smiled and walked forward to greet him. I am Dr. Duncan. I know you. Adam's hand, a genius doctor. What surprised Adam was that Dr. Dixon took the initiative to shake hands with Adam, because he had heard that she was very strange, and her reputation in the medical community was a bit similar to Sheldon's reputation in the scientific community. And now when he saw her, he felt that she should also have Sheldon's habit of cleanliness. Therefore, Adam was not prepared to extend his hand just now, but he didn't expect her to take the initiative to extend her hand. I brought my work clothes. Dr. Dixon shook hands, immediately withdrew, and then lowered his head, not looking at Adam, and talked to himself. I saw it. Adam smiled and said, good habit. Several of my good friends have similar habits. I'm here to do a heart transplant today. Dr. Dixon looked up at Adam, then immediately retracted his gaze, continued to look down at the ground, and talked to himself. I'm from the cardiothoracic surgery department, which was created by Christina Barnard in 1967. I'm from the cardiothoracic surgery department. My goal is also cardiothoracic surgery. Adam smiled and said, I'm looking forward to doing this heart transplant operation with Dr. Dixon. I'm Dr. Richard Weber. We talked on the phone. The chief of surgery smiled and stretched out his hand. Dr. Dixon shook hands with him, then immediately withdrew his hand and placed it on the white coat draped in front of him. Adam was too familiar with this action and expression. It was clearly Sheldon's severe misophobia, unwilling to contact anyone, but forced to submit due to social habits. Every time he finished, he looked disgusted and wanted to secretly take out hand sanitizer to wash his hands immediately. But he was much more polite than Sheldon. If it were Sheldon, he would have already turned sideways to secretly take out hand sanitizer to wash his hands. Let Dr. Duncan take you to visit the hospital and then introduce the patient's condition. The chief of surgery gave instructions and left. Although he was looking forward to Dr. Dixon's joining, he would rather avoid dealing with her as she was so weird. Dr. Dixon, please follow me, Adam invited. Then Adam was in front, and Dr. Dixon raised his head and followed Adam to look around the hospital. Melendez, go get the patient's medical records. Adam saw the little man coming and told him to get the records, and prepare for the operation. The little man looked at Dr. Dixon curiously, who obviously gave people a strange feeling, and left. This is our cardiothoracic surgery. Adam led Dr. Dixon into the cardiothoracic surgery and introduced it. The first heart transplant was performed on September 7, 1896 by Dr. Ludwig in Frankfurt, Germany. Dr. Dixon habitually gave a popular science talk. Yes, Adam smiled and nodded. This was full of Sheldon's déjà vu. Adam accompanied him to visit the entire hospital. Because of Sheldon's strange friend, Adam was not surprised by Dr. Dixon's eccentricity. On the contrary, he was very considerate. Adam was keenly aware that Dr. Dixon, who had no expression, was becoming more and more cheerful. Dr. Duncan, the little man came over at this time. Report to Dr. Dixon, Adam reminded. She is the surgeon in charge of the operation. Yes. The little man looked at Dr. Dixon, who turned around when he saw him coming, then turned back, glanced at him, and immediately moved away, not looking at him. The transplant operation is already in preparation. The operation was scheduled 6 years ago, but the heart was too small. So they added an extra donor heart to help maintain the original heart function. They did a piggyback operation. It's a heterotopic transplant, Dr. Dixon immediately corrected. Piggyback surgery is a popular term. The professional term is heterotopic heart transplantation. Don't call it that. Don't call it that. Melendez, did you hear that? Adam looked at the little man and reminded, we are professional doctors. When communicating with colleagues of the same profession, try to use professional terms. Yes, the little man glanced at Dr. Dixon, then at Adam, and nodded in agreement tactfully. P.S. Thanks to book friend 202104104211503550007 for the reward. Chapter 882 I really have such a friend. Medical Center. Ward. They told me that this heart belonged to a young girl. She was hit and killed while asking for a ride. Now I always see girls who hitchhike when I drive. The patient talked about the reason. I shouldn't have wanted this heart in the first place. We Navajo people don't even touch dead bodies, because their souls are still there. Sewing a dead body into my body is really… Wait. Adam was surprised. Mr. Bidoni, aren't you here to transplant a new heart? No, Mr. Bidoni shouted, I don't want a new heart. I'm here to ask you to help me take out that girl's heart. You don't want a new heart? Dr. Dixon said. Clay Bidoni, do you know that without a new heart, you can only rely on machines to live for a short time before a sudden and extremely painful death? The little man looked at Dr. Dixon speechlessly, and then looked at Adam. His eyes were full of the expression of Dr. Duncan. This is completely different from what you taught us to be emotionless but not cold. Adam gave a calming look in return. I'm very grateful that you can tell me what you think is the best advice for me. Mr. Bidoni was also stunned, but shook his head in a good-tempered manner. It's not advice. It's a fact. Dr. Dixon's Sheldon-like straightforwardness was almost reaching the sky. I want to say that instead of having a guilty conscience every day, it's better to live with peace of mind and live as long as you can. Mr. Bidoni smiled bitterly and said, I'm only concerned about what will happen to the heart after it's taken out of my body. Take it for pathology and then dispose of it as medical waste. Dr. Dixon said, I have to come back to commemorate it. Mr. Bidoni demanded, we have to abide by the law. The hospital has regulations, and regulations are regulations. Dr. Dixon emphasized with a wandering look, rules cannot be broken. With that, she turned and left. Mr. Bidoni, we will consider your request, Adam said soothingly and followed him out. Dr. Duncan. The short man followed closely and whispered, I have a suggestion. Dr. Dixon is the kind of person who respects rules too much, and we should try our best to meet the patient's requirements. Why don't we go to the director and make a rule that we should respect patients with faith? This way we can have the best of both worlds. It's a good idea. Adam nodded first, then said with a smile, this may be useful. Dr. Dixon will indeed abide by the new rules and regulations of the hospital. But do you think Dr. Dixon is a fool? Or do you think a fool can become a famous cardiothoracic surgeon? No. The short man was stunned. Of course not. Adam laughed and said, the director asked us to keep her as long as possible. Will it work if you do this? If you don't respect her, why bother? I can just take over the operation. I understand. The little man nodded, and then said with a puzzled look, but Dr. Duncan, a doctor like her is completely different from what you taught us. Every famous doctor has his own temper and habits. Adam looked at him, compared with Dr. House next door. Dr. Dixon is completely a normal human being, but no matter how bad Dr. House's temper is or how poisonous his mouth is, he can really cure diseases that others can't. Therefore, he can care less about these basic rules. After all, it is the patients or their families who need him. Of course, even if you are as strong as Dr. House, because of these unique bad habits, it is also very difficult. Even if you become a famous doctor in the future, or even a legend, I don't want you to learn from him. What I teach you is all normal norms. And Dr. Dixon is not as good as Dr. House, but she doesn't have Dr. House's bad temper and poisonous tongue. She just has social disorders, so her behavior is not in line with normal norms. It's not that she doesn't want to, but that she can't. Do you understand? I understand. The little man hesitated and said, but since she has such a problem, Why does she want to be a doctor? Wouldn't it be better to be a researcher in the laboratory? That way she doesn't have to deal with people. Maybe her dream is to be a doctor who cures diseases and saves lives? Adam smiled and said, although she may have social barriers, what if she is not indifferent in her heart, but actively wants to communicate with others? In short, there are various reasons. As long as she can do her job well, we should respect her. And the fact that she has become a famous doctor in these years instead of having her medical license revoked is enough to explain everything. The little man was silent. Operating room. Dr. Dixon was the main surgeon, Adam was the first assistant, and the little man was the second assistant. I have never seen such a fast cutting speed of the adhesive layer before on the second doctor, the little man exclaimed. Dr. Dixon seemed unaware and concentrated on the operation. Seeing this, the little man stopped talking and the operating room became completely quiet. Okay. The donor's heart has been separated, the cannula of the bypass valve is ready, and the next step is to do a left. Adam held a separated heart and reminded, then exclaimed in surprise, this is not right. This is impossible. His heart is beating. This is impossible. There shouldn't be a heartbeat. Dr. Dixon was shocked. It is possible. Adam reminded. Dr. Dixon, in heterotopic heart transplantation, the patient's heart and the transplanted heart work together to provide blood circulation for the patient. It must be that for 6 years, Mr. Bidoni's heart automatically completed the repair in this system and restored all functions. This is very rare, but it is documented. Very atypical, but it is indeed documented. Dr. Dixon looked at Adam. I have never seen it before. Me too. Adam smiled and said, it seems that Mr. Bidoni does not need a new heart. Dr. Dixon nodded, bowed his head and continued the operation. Wait until the operation is over. I'm only interested in one thing. Dr. Dixon suddenly said, the heart. I love it. I love its regular beating. I love it because it has a regular and predictable pattern, and I know it clearly. I love its color. It's comforting. I believe it. Adam smiled. Passion is the foundation of great achievements, and Dr. Dixon's skills are great. What to do with the removed heart? Dr. Dixon asked. Give it to the pathology department, and how to deal with it afterwards is a problem between the hospital and the patient. Adam smiled. Dr. Dixon, you have done what you should do, and you have completed this operation perfectly. That's enough. Dr. Duncan, does your friend also have Asperger's syndrome? Dr. Dixon glanced at Adam. The little man looked over immediately. He now believed Adam's judgment. Because Asperger's syndrome patients are not lonely in their hearts, but are very eager and try their best to establish connections with others. It's just that they don't understand the nonverbal information conveyed by others' facial expressions and body language, and lack skills, so they are often isolated. AKA doesn't understand most sarcasm, humor, and metaphors. His communication methods are rigid, and he is picky about words. In addition, he has a series of characteristics, such as eating, going to the toilet, and sleeping at fixed times, and he has special hobbies and interests. Oh, of course. Adam couldn't help laughing and said, my friend not only has Asperger's syndrome, he also suffers from severe obsessive-compulsive disorder, misophobia, narcissism, excessive timidity, and countless special symptoms that have not yet been revealed. But he is a super genius like Newton and Einstein who may also have Asperger's syndrome. Dr. Dixon looked away and stopped talking. After leaving the operating room, the patient, Mr. Bidoni, woke up, and Dr. Dixon argued with him about faith. Dr. Dixon only believed in science. Mr. Bidoni pointed out that science is also a kind of faith, but it is a faith that can be seen and touched. Both of them are moderates. After expressing their own ideas, they stopped forcing the argument. Dr. Dixon, how do you feel? At the end of the get-off-work day, the chief of surgery was waiting by the elevator, watching Dr. Dixon, who had changed back into a red suit, come in. I like it here. Dr. Dixon ignored the director and walked into the elevator before saying what the chief of surgery wanted to hear most. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 883 Say Goodbye to Your Buttocks. Dr. Dixon joined the company smoothly. Christmas Eve came in the blink of an eye. Every holiday, the emergency department is the hardest hit area. So Adam glanced at the pictures of special clothing taken by assistant Lisa, circled a very festive red embroidered cheongsam skirt, and went to the emergency room. George, go home early. It was already time to get off work. Adam saw George was still there, so he advised, spend more time with Mrs. O'Malley. No need. George shook his head. She has Lonnie and the others to accompany her. One more person won't make much difference. Anyway, the family can't be reunited anymore. Are you sure? Adam glanced at him and assessed his mental state. I'm sure, George said affirmatively. Okay. Adam nodded, then looked at Carter and teased, why are you still here? Isn't the Christmas tree near Carter's ancestral home waiting for you to chop it? The Carter family's battle axe has been thirsty for a long time, right? My parents have gone to England. Carter smiled and said, it's just me and the housekeeper when I go back. It's boring. It's better for you to learn more from Dr. Duncan in the hospital. TSK. Adam was also amazed at Carter's old Versailles. Old money is old money. Always asking for the housekeeper. Give it back to them. Do you need help? She can't. Is there anything I can do for you? He can't either. Just as Adam was talking to George and Carter, a conversation came into Adam's ears and attracted Adam's attention. It was Lexi, who saw a middle-aged couple standing next to the emergency nurse station, looking nervous and uncomfortable, so she kindly asked if they needed help. But the husband of the couple turned his head away and said no when he saw her. Then the little man came over to ask, but was also looked at by the other party and refused. Thank you. We'll wait a little longer, the wife of the couple said embarrassedly when she saw this. Is there anything I can do for you? Adam walked over with George and Carter. He can't do it either. The husband, who was obviously feeling unwell, glanced at Adam and immediately turned his head away. He is Adam Duncan, the genius doctor, the wife quickly reminded. Let him take a look. He will definitely be able to help us. I still want to find a more mature doctor. The husband glanced at Adam again at this time, and after his wife's reminder, he recognized Adam, but still muttered, we are doctors, we are all professional enough. Adam had already guessed something and said seriously, my husband and I. The wife was about to speak, but was immediately interrupted by her husband. Our children went to college, one at Stanford and the other at Columbia. The husband stepped forward, blocked his wife, and began to talk about other things. So? Adam looked at him. Do your children need medical help? Of course not. Upon hearing this, the wife immediately walked around her husband and explained, tonight is Christmas Eve, the children are not at home, so we want to try something new. A brand new, slippery thing. We lost it. Rachel. Upon hearing this, the husband couldn't hold his eyes to cover his face anymore, so he shouted and looked at the doctors who were looking at them awkwardly. We read this method in a magazine. Yes, it's here. The wife Rachel also reacted, took out a torn magazine from her bag, and handed it to Adam. The husband did not stop, but held his eyes again, not looking at the crowd, nor letting the crowd see his eyes. 20 Ways to Rekindle Your Long Night. Adam read out the culprit very naturally and professionally. Carter and the others looked a little strange. We tried the 9th one. The wife Rachel did not dare to look at the crowd, and said in a low voice with her head tilted, okay, Gray, take her to change into hospital gowns, and then take an X-ray. Adam deliberately ordered. Not me. His wife Rachel quickly explained. It was him. He did the 9th method. We did it together, the husband explained awkwardly. Yes. But I didn't put it in. His wife Rachel also wanted to shirk the blame awkwardly. Anyway, it was him. He is the patient. Okay, sir, please sit down first. Adam said seriously, we will help you. I think I'd better stand. Seeing this, the husband simply revealed his cards and stopped pretending. My fault. Then lie down. Adam said very professionally. Carter, O'Malley, take Mr. Kramer to do an abdominal X-ray. Yes. Carter and George responded and left. Puff. After they left, Lexi couldn't help laughing anymore. Professional. Gray. Adam couldn't help laughing. Yes. Lexi tried hard to hold back her laughter. This magazine is very popular. Adam flipped through the magazine in his hand, handed it to the little guy and joked, "Dr. Sloan or Sadie must have seen the 16th method, ha ha ha." Lexi couldn't hold it in any longer and burst into laughter. The little guy flipped through it and couldn't help laughing. After a while, Carter and George came back with Mr. Kramer lying on the gurney, carrying a new X-ray. Adam raised his hand and took a look at it with everyone under the light. Carter and the others were having a hard time holding back. "Everyone, we are doctors, we must be professional," Adam reminded again, took the X-ray, walked over, and said professionally, "Mr. Kramer, your bilateral abdominal X-ray shows that there is a foreign body inside. We will perform a sigmoidoscopy for you and then remove the foreign body manually. Can you take it out?" Mr. Kramer was overjoyed. "Of course." Adam nodded and said, "Since it can be inserted, as long as it is not a special material that can expand, it can be taken out through professional medical means. Even special materials that cannot be removed by non-invasive means can be removed through surgery." But then, Mr. Kramer really had to say goodbye to his buttocks. Operating room. Adam instructed Carter to operate the sigmoidoscope, and removed the foreign body amid the patient Mr. Kramer's screams. "Damn it, I'm never looking for excitement again." Mr. Kramer let out a long sigh. "It's better this way." Adam smiled and said, "Some things can't be tried. Otherwise once you take a step, you can never go back. I remember you said it was to rekindle your feelings, right?" "Yes," Mr. Kramer nodded. "If you always try the 9th method and other stimulating methods, props and Wi-Fi are indispensable," Adam said meaningfully, "it's easy to go astray, and then not only will the relationship between husband and wife not be rekindled, instead, the wife will easily be burned to ashes, and then this relationship will be completely extinguished. The gain is not worth the loss. Of course, everything depends on your choice. In this zero-sum game, his wife can easily lose everything and have nothing." Looking at his wife's appearance, it doesn't seem like she actively asked him to play the 9th method. Can't think too much, Mr. Kramer. Chapter 884. What is traditional art? After dealing with the Kramers who are good at playing in the city, Adam participated in several more rescue operations. It was late at night. Adam was just about to leave and go to New Jersey to spend a happy Christmas Eve with Peggy, a combination of the East and the West. The sound of an ambulance was heard. Adam and Lexi went to meet it again. "What's the situation?" "Mike Coulson, 35 years old, multiple gunshot wounds." The paramedic lifted the patient off the ambulance and said quickly, "Systolic blood pressure 88, 2 doses of lactated Ringer's solution were injected." Chest, abdomen, back, legs, shoulders. In short, the whole body is covered with gunshot wounds. "Oh my God!" Lexi took a look and exclaimed. "Did he meet the police?" Carter complained. "Did the magazines be emptied?" "No." The paramedic shook his head. "He's still alive." Carter was speechless, thought about it, pursed his lips and nodded. She didn't mean to do it. This was an accident. She feels guilty. At this time, another ambulance drove over and stopped. A middle-aged blonde woman with a bandaged arm, holding a little girl, ran over in a hurry, shouting, "Mandy, tell them you're sorry." "Did she shoot?" Everyone was shocked. Adam, who was rescuing the gunshot wounded, also turned around and looked over. What he saw was the panic-stricken blonde woman and the calm and peaceful little girl in her arms, with a cut on her face and blood on her tender face. "Gray, call the director." "Carter, call Dr. Montgomery to help them check and treat the wounds on their faces." "Melendez, O'Malley, follow me," Adam quickly ordered. Entered the emergency room. "Melendez, how many wounds?" Adam asked while giving first aid. There were 3 gunshot wounds in the chest and abdomen, 7 gunshot wounds in the legs, and 1 on each side of the waist and abdomen. "It may have penetrated the body." The little man quickly checked and said, "There are also wounds on the back, a total of 25 wounds, 9 penetrating wounds, and there should be 5 bullets in the body." "What else?" Adam asked. "There is blood in the urine, and there should be kidney problems," George said. "Take an X-ray," Adam ordered, "book an operating room, and go and ask what's going on over there." The director hurried over after being notified by Lexi. "The police have arrived. They want to talk to you about how Mandy got the gun." The director looked at the mother and daughter, one panicking and the other calm, and a little weird. We also called the social worker. Mandy, do these wounds hurt? Dr. Montgomery arrived and took Carter to examine Mandy's injuries. Mandy shook her head. Can you tell me how the wound on your face came from? Dr. Montgomery asked gently. She was terrified. The little girl's mother came over immediately, hugged her daughter, and covered up, saying, she was afraid that you would take her away from me after she did something bad, and the gun rebounded and hit her face, causing such a wound. This doesn't look like. Dr. Montgomery looked at the wound that was obviously scratched by a blade. She was scratched like this. The little girl's mother interrupted. Her father was shooting in the backyard, and he put the gun down for a while. He was so stupid, so stupid. She never thought of hurting him. We believe it. Dr. Montgomery looked at her deeply. But the wound on your arm was also caused by the rebound of the gun? I accidentally fell. The little girl's mother lowered her head and said, he abused you, didn't he? Dr. Montgomery said sympathetically, you can tell me, and someone will help you. No, the little girl's mother shouted, no domestic violence, nothing. Okay, you will be fine. The chief of surgery quickly winked at Dr. Montgomery and comforted him. Will my dad die? The little girl suddenly spoke, still so calm. Dr. Duncan is rescuing him. He is a very good doctor. Dr. Montgomery comforted. How could it be? The little girl murmured. What do you mean by how could it be? Dr. Montgomery was stunned. How could he not die? The little girl asked in confusion. I shot him so many times. How could he not die? Don't. Dr. Montgomery looked at the little girl in shock, and then looked at the little girl's mother with a flickering look in her eyes. Did you see? Look at what you did. She didn't want to kill him. The little girl's mother cried. She doesn't understand anything. She just wanted to stop him. He loves us, but sometimes he gets crazy. Mandy, Dad loves us. He has been very restrained and he has tried very hard. She is just a child. Dr. Montgomery said angrily, you should have tried your best to protect her, instead of letting her use such extreme methods to protect you on Christmas Eve when she should be happy. At this time, Adam came over. Adam, how is it? The chief of surgery came over immediately. The bullet entered the abdomen. 5 bullets remain in the body, 25 gunshot wounds, hematuria, and instability in vital parts. Adam and the chief of surgery briefly explained a few words, then looked at the little girl's mother. Madam, he has almost all internal organ problems. We have to send him to the operating room for surgery immediately. Wait, the little girl's mother shouted. Before he went in, Mandy wanted to apologize to him. Then, she shouted at Mandy, who was receiving treatment for her wound by Dr. Montgomery. Mandy, go and apologize to your father quickly. Surgery is dangerous. You don't want your father to die before you apologize, do you? The little girl Mandy glanced at her mother. A trace of helplessness flashed in her eyes, dodged Dr. Montgomery's stitches, jumped off the bed, calmly walked to her mother, held her mother's hand, and looked at Adam. Where is my father? I want to apologize to him. Don't. Everyone was silent for a while. This damn sense of confusion made them unable to tell who was the mother in her 30s and who was the 5 or 6-year-old daughter. Operating room. The man shot by his daughter 17 times in a row, although in a critical condition, was still rescued by Adam. It's incredible. He can be saved, George exclaimed. Adam just shook his head and didn't say anything. George and the little man looked at each other and reacted. For a man who cut his 5 or 6-year-old daughter on the face, forcing the young girl to pick up the gun and fire 17 shots in a row to protect her mother who was abused to the point of fracture, the violent father who tried so hard and restrained himself was saved by Adam's magic hands. It really can't be considered a happy thing on Christmas Eve. How is it? After leaving the operating room, Adam walked outside the ward and looked at the mother of the little girl who was persuaded by the social worker and covered her mouth and cried bitterly, and the little girl who was still calm. The social worker is persuading her to take Mandy away, Carter said. The medical records show that this is not the first time she has been injured by fractures. Domestic violence is always the difference between 0 times and countless times. Adam sighed. Late at night, when Adam changed his clothes and was ready to leave the hospital, he saw the little girl's mother wiped her tears, held the little girl's hand, and stood in front of the domestic violence man who had woken up but could not move. "Let's break up. We are leaving. I know you are very weak now. You can't find us in the short term, and you will never find us in the future, so we are here to say goodbye." "Mandy, say goodbye to your dad. This is the last time you see him." The little girl Mandy did not speak immediately, but stared at her father quietly for a long time. Only in her father's panicked eyes did she wave her hand calmly and obediently. "Goodbye, Dad. Take care of yourself. P.S. Thanks to book friends 16110605240789 and Yenu for their rewards. Chapter 885, Lai Dai and Duo's unusual first encounter on December 24, 1999, Christmas Eve. With infinite emotion, Adam left the hospital and drove to New Jersey. Christmas is in 2 hours. Adam habitually took Peggy to stay up all night, and there is no need to elaborate on the warm interaction. The next day, Adam did not get up at 4 in the morning to rush to the medical center as usual. Instead, he stayed in bed until noon. Then he got up and walked around the campus of Princeton University, and met Leonard, who had an appointment. "Hi, Adam." Leonard waved excitedly. "Hi, Leonard." Adam smiled and said, "Merry Christmas. How were you recently?" "Not bad." Leonard grinned and said, "I'm busy with my college graduation thesis recently, and I'll start graduate school next year." "Then aren't you the protagonist of Christmas Eve tonight?" Adam teased. "I hope so too," Leonard said with a wry smile, "but my sister and brother have both made great achievements this year, and I don't think my university graduation thesis will get much attention." "Don't we still have your father's thesis?" Adam smiled and comforted. "Your thesis is also a physics thesis, which is much better than an anthropology thesis in your mother's eyes, right?" "Yes." Leonard smiled immediately. "In the Christmas thesis discussion group tonight, I may finally not be at the bottom. The Hofstadter family is full of geniuses, not to mention that Leonard's mother Beverly is a neurologist, psychiatrist, and parenting expert. Leonard's father Alfred is an anthropologist. Although Leonard's sister is only 26 years old now, she is already a famous genius biologist. Her status in the field of biology is comparable to Peggy in the mathematics world. Leonard's brother Michael, although only 18 years old, has already graduated from Harvard University and just entered Harvard Law School this fall. He is a genius star in the legal field. Then it was Leonard's turn. He was the same age as Sheldon and Peggy, 19 this year, and would graduate from college next year at the age of 20, preparing to study for a master's degree and a doctorate. If nothing unexpected happened, he would spend 2 years as a graduate student and 2 years as a doctorate student. In 4 years, at the age of 24, he would get a doctorate in experimental physics from Princeton and win the annual experimental physics paper. This kind of achievement would be considered great for ordinary people, but compared with his godlike sister and genius brother, it pales in comparison. The Hofstadter family, a family of scientists, would not celebrate Christmas and other festivals like normal people. In their eyes, festivals are not for celebration, but are usually used to study the anthropological and psychological significance they play in human society. They would not give each other any gifts, but papers. Then they would discuss in groups and comment on each other, make progress together. Leonard, a 19-year-old prospective college graduate, took out a prospective college graduation thesis. Apart from competing with his equally stressed anthropologist father and competing for the second-to-last place in the family, there was no other hope. "Adam, do you want to come to my house tonight?" Leonard invited with a smile. "My mother and my sister both want to meet you." "Is it because of the breakthrough in my clinical research project?" Adam understood. "Yes." Leonard nodded. "You also know that my mother is a neurologist and my sister is a biologist. They are all very interested in your incredible breakthrough in the new viral therapy for malignant glioma. If you can go there tonight, they will be very, very happy, including you." Adam saw through him at a glance. "This way they won't pay attention to you, right?" He. Leonard scratched his head and smiled. "Okay, I'll discuss it with Peggy." Adam pondered. "If there are no accidents, we will go to visit together tonight. Dr. Adler is coming too?" Leonard's eyes widened. "Yes." Adam glanced at him. "But we are just going to visit, and we probably won't stay for long, you know. It's Christmas. Beverly and Leonard's sister are both super geniuses in related fields. One can help study more advanced neural theories. The other can help optimize viruses better. It just so happens that they are all of great help to Adam's clinical research project. It is still very beneficial to visit them and communicate with them. That's great, Leonard cheered. This year's Christmas will definitely be the best Christmas. I'll tell them right away. Don't worry, Adam smiled and said, I need your help. After talking to Leonard, Adam went back and told Peggy. Seeing that Peggy was okay with it, he smiled and told his assistant Lisa to arrange someone to deal with the Christmas gifts, and then went to the medical center. The Christmas atmosphere began to shroud. Dr. Duncan, Merry Christmas Cindy, Merry Christmas. Dr. Duncan, Merry Christmas Wanda, Merry Christmas. Along the way, he was greeted by smiling medical staff. There were also a few brave nurses who pushed and for stand with mistletoe hanging on it and wanted to sneak attack Adam. But they were all dodged by Adam one by one. Because of the tradition in the American TV world, people standing under the mistletoe cannot refuse to kiss, and couples who kiss under the mistletoe will be happy for the rest of their lives. You don't know. Dr. Dixon is so exaggerated. Adam just walked in and heard Christina complaining about Dr. Dixon. Dr. Bailey went too far yesterday. Adam went over and said, knowing that Dr. Dixon had some problems that were very different from those of ordinary people, he rashly proposed a new medical plan to the patient's family without informing Dr. Dixon. It caused chaos and noise at the scene, which stimulated Dr. Dixon to have an attack. Although I don't want to say it, Dr. Bailey has really changed since the sudden accident with little George. Yeah, Christina thought about it and nodded. Dr. Bailey has indeed become much weaker. Dr. Dixon said that Dr. Bailey is a pediatrician. It makes sense when you think about it. Only in pediatrics can you not follow the rules, because the rules there are more flexible. Dr. Bailey, who was so strong-willed, actually degenerated into a pediatrician after giving birth to a child. It's really pitiful and terrible. Yesterday, a little girl had to undergo a transcatheter occlusion operation. Dr. Dixon was the main surgeon. Dr. Bailey was the first assistant, and Christina was the second assistant. After opening the chest, it was found that the little girl's heart had a serious problem and could not be repaired at all. She could only wait for a new heart transplant, but this waiting process will take several years. During this process, the little girl had to lie on the bed. After her son almost died, Dr. Bailey couldn't stand the child dying in front of her. She was very emotional and said nothing at first, and withdrew from the operation directly. Then, after spending some time with her son in the hospital kindergarten, she thought of using a backpack to place a drug pump, so that the little girl could still live a normal life while waiting. So she ran directly to the ward and told the little girl's parents about this plan loudly. The little girl's parents were infinitely surprised after despair, and they hugged Dr. Dixon, who was almost unable to stand the quarrel between Dr. Bailey and the patient's family. Dr. Dixon, who has Asperger's syndrome, collapsed directly after being hugged, waving his arms and shouting like a madman, and then fled the ward. When Dr. Bailey reacted and found Dr. Dixon in the office, she was trembling inside and asked Dr. Bailey to hold her, because she needed huge pressure to soothe her nervous system. Dr. Bailey was confused, but still did it. Unfortunately, the force was too weak. Christina, who was found later, also hugged him and successfully calmed down the trembling Dr. Dixon. Then Dr. Dixon gave them an example to explain the reason. Before being slaughtered, cattle stay in a very narrow trough. The trough produces great pressure, which reduces the pulse rate and metabolic rate of cattle. Pressure can calm them, making the beef tender. In the same way, for people like Dr. Dixon, pressure will relax their sympathetic nervous system. It was because of what happened yesterday that Adam thought of looking for Leonard and prepared a very special Christmas gift for Dr. Dixon. Adam was looking forward to Dr. Dixon's reaction, because in a way, Dr. Dixon is very similar to Sheldon, and this gift comes from Leonard. The two met at Christmas, which was like an alternative first meeting between Sheldon and Leonard. In a sense, this also proves that Leonard is really Sheldon's destined best friend. Chapter 886 Christmas Eve at Leonard's house, medical center. Dr. Dixon's office. Knock. Adam knocked on the door. "Excuse me, Dr. Dixon." Adam walked in with a smile and said to the wandering Dr. Dixon, "Today is Dr. Dixon's first Christmas at the medical center. On behalf of the hospital, I'm giving you a gift. I hope you like it." "Gift?" Dr. Dixon glanced at Adam in surprise. "Bring it in." Seeing that she didn't object, Adam called his assistant Lisa's men to bring in a huge wrapped gift. "What is this?" Dr. Dixon looked at the gift curiously. As long as she wasn't looking at people, her eyes could focus. "You can open it and take a look." Adam knew that she didn't like being stared at, so he motioned his men to leave and smiled at Dr. Dixon. Dr. Dixon glanced at Adam again, nodded, took out a scalpel from his white coat, and pulled the scalpel out of the specially ordered scabbard, walked over, and skillfully wielded the knife. In the face of the extremely sharp scalpel, the gift package had no power to resist. Adam was watching and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Carrying a scalpel with him, is this the doctor in the Royal Secret Agent 00? Don't underestimate us doctors, we also use knives to make a living, and the one we use is the dragon-slaying sword that can cut through hair instantly. Hug machine. Dr. Dixon used the knife skills of a famous doctor to open the gift box. When he saw the gift's true appearance, he recognized it at a glance. "Yes," Adam smiled and said, "it's the hug machine. It was designed by a good friend of mine. His mother is also suspected of having Asperger's syndrome. She is a neurologist and a parenting expert, so she has been using him for parenting experiments since he was a child. He couldn't enjoy maternal love, so she designed and made this hug machine when he was very young." "Is his mother Dr. Beverly Hofstadter?" Dr. Dixon said it all. Adam was stunned, then laughed dumbly. "Dr. Dixon, do you know Dr. Beverly Hofstadter?" "Yeah." Dr. Dixon stared at the hug machine and said casually, "I know her, and I have read her book The Helpless Ado." "Your good friend is Leonard Rich Hofstadter, right?" "Yes." Adam suppressed a laugh and said, "This book is really famous." "You mean her, the friend like me?" Dr. Dixon glanced at Adam. "No." Adam shook his head. "I'm talking about another friend, Dr. Sheldon Cooper." Dr. Dixon didn't say anything. Obviously he had never heard of Sheldon. Adam almost laughed out loud. If Sheldon knew that he was not as famous as Leonard when he was about to get his second doctorate and Leonard was just about to graduate from college, he didn't know if he would be unable to accept it. But it's not surprising. Sheldon is a super genius in the scientific community, or in the physics community. But it's hard for his fame to break through the circle to the medical community. As for Leonard, he broke through the circle in advance because of his mother. As a neurologist, she is connected to both the scientific and medical communities. In addition, she particularly likes to write and publish books. She has even written professional papers about her and her husband's affairs in the boudoir from their respective professional perspectives. They are posted online and directly handed over to Princeton University Press for publication. She even made a PPT and gave a lecture tour. With this, her fame is completely radiating, and because of her weird behavior, she is secretly labeled as an Asperger's syndrome patient, which is also recognized by the industry. It is normal for Dr. Dixon to pay attention to such a famous person. "It has been thoroughly cleaned. You can try it," Adam reminded. Although this was designed and manufactured by Leonard when he was a child, his father often borrowed it as soon as it was manufactured. So it was optimized and changed to a body shape suitable for hugging adults. And Dr. Alfred Hofstadter's body shape is very similar to yours, so it should be very suitable. Dr. Dixon pressed the button on the hug machine that said hug. The hug machine immediately made a double-handed hugging gesture. The strength can be adjusted. After you try it, lock the hug strength that suits you according to your needs, Adam explained. Dr. Dixon pressed the pat back button again. The palm of the hug machine began to make a patting motion. Dr. Dixon was stunned and pressed the singing button again. Soft cat, warm cat, little furball cat, laughing cat, sleepy cat, purr, purr, purr. A gentle female voice rang out from the hug machine, singing a lullaby. "This is Sheldon's favorite lullaby, Soft Cat." Adam smiled and explained, "Whether it is for sleeping or soothing when injured or frightened, it is very effective. I asked someone to record it. If you don't like it, you can record your favorite song. I like it very much." Dr. Dixon shook his head and said, This song is like a mother's gentle whisper in my ear. It has a strong soothing effect on my sympathetic nervous system. I'm glad you like it." Adam showed a look of as expected. "Did your friend Leonard Rich Hofstadter design this when he was young?" After trying to press the button a few times, Dr. Dixon got familiar with the use of the hug machine and then began to try it. He was hugged by the hug machine, patted, sung and soothed, and closed his eyes. He felt comfortable all over. He is a genius. He is not as bad as described in the book The Invincible Edu. He is indeed. Adam nodded and smiled. It's just that his mother is a little too strict with him. Of course, it also has something to do with his sister and brother being too outstanding. "Thank you." Dr. Dixon thanked him without changing her expression. "You're welcome." Adam could sense her joy and smiled with relief. If nothing unexpected happens next year, he will try to be the chief resident. It is his job to win over all the famous doctors, command all the residents, and manage the entire hospital. Besides, Dr. Dixon's love for this hug machine has proved his point. Leonard is really Sheldon's best friend destined for fate. So even if they haven't met yet, just being their substitutes, they are a perfect match. After delivering the gifts, Adam went to the emergency room, easily completing the expected goal of curing illnesses, saving lives and increasing life expectancy that day, and went home early from get off work. He had to take Peggy to attend the Hofstadter family's Christmas Eve in the evening. At night, ding dong, the doorbell of the Hofstadter family rang. "I'm coming to open the door." Leonard's voice resounded throughout the villa. The door was opened, and Adam and Peggy stood outside the door in casual clothes. Opposite, stood Leonard with a grin, and not far behind him was Alfred, who was watching with a smile. Sitting in the living room was a mother and daughter who looked over indifferently. Standing on the stairs was a short young man, who first glanced at Peggy, and then looked at Adam with hostility. Chapter 887 Mr. Wolowitz calls the expert. Christmas Eve. Leonard's house. "Peggy, let me introduce you." Adam smiled and said, "This is Leonard's father, Dr. Alfred Hofstadter." "Hello, Dr. Adler." "Hello, Dr. Alfred Hofstadter." "This is Leonard's mother, Dr. Beverly Hofstadter." After Peggy and Leonard's father nodded and greeted each other, Adam pulled Peggy into the house and introduced her to Beverly, who stood up. "Hello, Dr. Adler." "Hello, Dr. Beverly Hofstadter." Peggy and Beverly nodded. "This is Leonard's sister, Dr. Rachel Hofstadter." Adam introduced Peggy to the young and arrogant woman who was the only one around Beverly who inherited Beverly's height. "Hello, Dr. Adler." "Hello, Dr. Rachel Hofstadter." Rachel looked at Peggy. "This is Leonard's brother, Michael." Adam looked at Michael, who had already walked down the stairs and stared at him and Peggy with unfriendly eyes. "Hello, Dr. Adler, I'm your loyal fan." Michael excitedly extended his hand. "Hello, Mr. Hofstadter." Peggy didn't extend her hand, and Michael was stunned by her words. 7 years later, a master's engineer felt this deeply. When a group of people greeted each other, all of them were Dr. So-and-so, Dr. So-and-so, and suddenly someone called Mr. So-and-so. It was really sour, especially for a young man who stood in front of a goddess and a love rival, with a proud heart. This kind of critical hit was really unforgettable. "I will definitely become a doctor." Michael's face flushed. Meow. At this time, a little cat jumped out, squatted on the sofa, and meowed at everyone. "Peggy, let me introduce, this should be Leonard's cat, Dr. Puss in Boots Hofstadter." Adam noticed Michael's hostility, so he took the opportunity to make another stab at him. "Hello, Dr. Puss Hofstadter." Peggy also noticed Michael's hostility towards Adam, and greeted the cat seriously. "That's right, the cats in Leonard's family are all called Doctor. Although it's a nickname, it's still the Doctor." Michael retreated immediately. Not everyone can withstand continuous heavy blows, especially a young man who has just reached adulthood. Adam shook his head secretly. What a pity. If the other party persisted for a while, he would greet Leonard's family from the beginning. That would be Dr. Alfred Hofstadter, Dr. Duncan, homonymous with Dr. Beverly Hofstadter, Dr. Duncan, Dr. Rachel Hofstadter, Dr. Duncan, Dr. Puss Hofstadter. Meow. By then, young Michael probably won't be able to hold on. Hurry up, hurry up. Leonard greeted them very actively. Dr. Duncan, What is your relationship with Dr. Adler? Leonard's sister Rachel, who not only inherited Beverly's height, beauty, and intelligence, but also inherited her indifference and straightforwardness, asked Adam and Peggy, who had just sat down. There is no ugly girl when you are young. Just look at Leonard, who was a handsome guy when he was young. The Hofstadter family is very beautiful. Rachel, 26 years old, is absolutely beautiful, although she is not particularly outstanding and cannot be compared with Peggy. But at such a young age, coupled with her intellectual and arrogant temperament, she is definitely a beautiful scientist with a unique aura. We are very good and very close friends. Adam's mouth twitched. It was really a pot that was not open, but seeing that everyone was looking at him, he could only consider it. Is there a relationship? Rachel continued to ask. Are you open? Adam said seriously, no. Although Rachel is also a beautiful scientist and helpful to his career, Adam still couldn't accept such things in person. That's a pity. Rachel frowned and said, Dr. Duncan, you are so outstanding, your genes must be very high quality, and you are definitely the best choice for the next generation. I look forward to working with you. Leonard couldn't listen anymore and interrupted his eldest sister's frank talk. Although he admired Adam very much, regarded Adam as his best friend, and didn't mind Adam becoming his brother-in-law. But in front of Peggy, his sister's behavior still made him feel ashamed and a little embarrassed. It's just a pity that in a family, only the male compatriots feel this way. Rachel, who said this, and Beverly, who heard her daughter say this, didn't feel anything strange, as if it was a normal invitation for cooperation. Leonard, do you have any objection to Rachel wanting to cooperate with Adam? Beverly frowned and looked at Leonard. No, Mom. Leonard's forehead was almost on the table, and he said in a muffled voice. Of course he had an objection, but now, he couldn't say a word among thousands of words. Adam, congratulations. Beverly conceded that her second son was a failure. Seeing this, she just shook her head and didn't ask any more questions. She looked at Adam and congratulated him. Your new viral therapy for malignant glioma has made a remarkable breakthrough. You said you wanted to be a surgeon before. I thought you would be like those workers who move bricks on the construction site, doing repetitive physical work without any originality. Saving a true scientist like us in your lifetime would be the greatest contribution you have made to science and mankind in your lifetime. I never thought that you would make a breakthrough in the field of neurosurgery so quickly. I didn't think original scientific research was so simple. Adam smiled and said, thanks to Peggy. Did Dr. Adler's mathematical calculations really make such a great contribution to this clinical research? Rachel looked at Peggy with scrutiny. Of course, Adam affirmed, otherwise it wouldn't be called the Duncan Adler procedure. Has it been named and published? Beverly asked in surprise. It has been submitted to the Lancet. Adam shook his head and said, because it takes time to review, it was not published before Christmas. It will probably be delayed until New Year's Day next year. However, they have contacted us and asked us to come and shoot a set of cover photos. I look forward to reading your paper. Rachel looked at Peggy. Don't look forward to it. Peggy smiled and said, Adam knows the holiday tradition of the Hofstadter family, so he brought the paper here specially. Please correct it with Dr. Beverly Hofstadter. That's great. Rachel's eyes lit up and she looked at Beverly. Mom, shall we start? I like to get straight to the point. Beverly stood up and nodded. I'll go get my paper. I'll go too. Rachel also stood up. Then Alfred and Michael stood up and went to their respective rooms to get their respective papers. Oh, I'll go too. Leonard smiled bitterly at Adam and Peggy, and also stood up reluctantly and went to get it. Chapter 888. Sorry, I'm not wrong. Christmas Eve. Paper night. The 5 members of the Hofstadter family, 3 doctors, a future associate doctor, and a future associate professor, all went to the room to take out their latest papers and walked out. The scene was inexplicably funny. Adam and Peggy also took out the papers they brought. I'm a biologist. I'll exchange papers with Dr. Duncan first. Leonard's sister Rachel handed the paper in her hand to Peggy directly, and then reached out to take the paper in Adam's hand. When she got it and opened the first page, she immediately made a surprised sound. What's wrong? Leonard's brother Michael, who had been paying attention to this, asked immediately after seeing this. "Is this photo the cover of the Lancet?" Rachel pulled out a picture and looked at Adam. "Not yet." Adam smiled and said, "This is a cover I drew when I heard that they were going to take cover photos for Peggy and me. Let them refer to it when the time comes, so that they don't take photos that we don't like." "This is not taken, but you drew it?" Rachel was even more surprised. "What painting?" "Let me see it." Michael couldn't help but walk over, took the painting and looked at it, and immediately stood there in a daze. "Let me see it too." Seeing this, Leonard was also very curious. He walked over, took a look, and exclaimed, "This is exactly the same as the photo, and there are special effects added to some parts." Alfred, as the second to last in thesis night, actually didn't like the thesis night very much. He was happy to have something to divert everyone's attention. He heard the words and came over. "It's a great painting." Alfred looked at the painting, and then looked at the real people sitting together in the painting, and exclaimed, "It's really a perfect match." Michael immediately came back to his senses and wanted to refute, but looking at the couple in the painting who looked like a perfect match, he felt very bitter. His boyish heart, which had nowhere to go, was shattered before it even started. In the painting, Adam and Peggy, smiling at each other. In the middle is a colorful perspective of the brain. Lines of mathematical formulas appear faintly in the offensive and defensive battles between viruses, tumors, and the human immune system. Peggy took a pen and the tip of the pen fell on the end of the mathematical formula displayed on the brain. The color tone used in the mathematical formula is consistent with the surrounding color tone of the surrounding tissues eroded by the tumor. It seems to have built a defense circle for the surrounding tissues. On the opposite side, Adam, wearing a surgical cap and holding a scalpel, fell on the gray representing the tumor, and the tip of the knife perfectly overlapped with the tip of Peggy's pen. Both of them only showed half of their side faces. But if you look closely, Adam on the left, in the right eye, a perfect miniature of Peggy's front face is looming, and Peggy on the right, in the left eye, is also a miniature of Adam's front face. On the side are the names of Adam and Peggy. Below is the name of the paper. The whole picture is eye-catching and full of impact, especially for someone like Michael. After being stuffed with bitter dog food, he couldn't help but think that they really match each other. Just taking pictures will never have such an effect. Various PS must be added in the later stage. Even this is difficult to achieve such an effect. Leonard and the others finally understood what Adam meant when he said that the Lancet staff might not be able to take the effect he and Peggy wanted. "This is not pretending, it's the truth." "Adam, you are such a genius." Leonard looked at it again and couldn't help but admire it. "Thank you." Adam smiled and said, "But here, it's unnecessary to talk about genius, right? After all, aren't there any geniuses among the people present?" At this point, he glanced at Michael, and his eyes finally fell on Dr. Puss in Boots Hofstadter, who had jumped from the sofa to the table. "Meow Tilda." Feeling Adam's gaze, Dr. Puss in Boots Hofstadter immediately spoke up, as if to express that Dr. Cat is also a true genius. "Cat?" "That's right." Leonard and Alfred immediately raised their chins, as if they were happy. Michael looked autistic and didn't want to talk. "Is this right?" Rachel pointed to a mathematical calculation. "Yes." Peggy smiled confidently. "Can you explain it?" Rachel frowned. "Sorry, such a simple thing, I don't know what to explain." Peggy shook her head. Rachel looked at Peggy's expression, which was like a primary school student doing math problems. 1 + 1 = 2. The answer is there. How else do you need to solve it? For the first time in her life, she felt the crushing of IQ. But she was also a proud person, so she didn't say anything when she saw this, and began to try to understand the calculations in the paper by herself. As a biologist known as a genius, her IQ is there, and her math is also very good. This paper mainly involves virology and biology. After reading the whole paper, she gave a high evaluation of this paper in her heart. But there are still many doubts about the mathematical calculations in it. "It seems that it's still wrong here." Rachel pointed to a mathematical calculation in the paper. "It's like this." Adam saw Peggy looking at him and understood her thoughts, so he took the initiative to explain it. Peggy had explained these things to him a long time ago. Since Peggy didn't want to be a boring explainer again, repeating those simple and clear calculation processes, he had to come. After all, Tonight is Christmas Eve, the night of the paper, and everyone is supposed to discuss with each other and make progress together. And for a super genius like Peggy, watching others groping for these simple calculations and asking questions that seemed too stupid to her was torture. If Adam hadn't been her inspiration, the emotional bond between them would have become deeper and deeper. After each stupid question, he would flatter her, making her happy and overwhelm her impatience, and she would explain again and again. She would only say it once. Don't understand? Then work hard to learn, and you will understand it one day. Still don't understand? Then just don't understand. This is a common thing. There are too many mathematicians in the mathematics community who can't understand a mathematical formula written by some top scientists decades ago. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 7 difficult mathematical problems. 4 mathematical papers written by top mathematicians. Even peers need to use months or even years to understand and prove whether the calculations in the papers are correct. Many times, they get it wrong and think that the mathematicians who wrote the papers are wrong. But unfortunately, sometimes they find out that the clowns are actually themselves. Mathematics, as the starting point and end point of human science, is a science that truly tests human IQ. If you can do it, you can do it, and if you can't do it, you can't do it. After listening to Adam's explanation, Rachel found helplessly that all these mathematical calculations were correct. She had been thinking wrongly about the things that she couldn't understand before. Adam understood her look, and felt understanding and pity. Fortunately, this paper was more in line with her major. Otherwise, if Peggy really brought her latest paper in the field of pure mathematics, Adam estimated that everyone present would be staring blankly. What is this? Where am I? What am I doing? Chapter 889. Everyone is happy. Leonard's house. After Adam finished explaining, he didn't want to have another tragedy like Peggy's words stifling the entire thesis night, so he began to guide the rhythm and get into the main topic of tonight. Let top neurologist Beverly and top biologist Rachel comment on, supplement and discuss his thesis from their professional perspectives. After completely giving up the doubts about the correctness of mathematical calculations, Rachel showed her professionalism. It really gave Adam a lot of new ideas and inspiration for virus optimization. Beverly was also very powerful, for the latest and most cutting-edge neural theory, combined with Adam's thesis. She gave a refreshing view. Adam combined their insights and theories and also had new ideas. He asked Peggy on the spot about the feasibility of mathematics. So, Leonard's house was full of a happy atmosphere. The 2 strong women in the family and Peggy surrounded Adam and discussed enthusiastically. The 3 men from the Hofstadter family next to them held each other's papers and stared at each other. Half an hour passed. Seeing that this embarrassing situation continued, Alfred, the head of the family, looked at his 2 sons and suggested, "Tonight is thesis night. Let's not just stand there and exchange papers together." Okay. Leonard was the first to react, and smiled as he handed his quasi-university graduation thesis to his father. He was the one in the family who could adapt to any environment the most, and Adam was his best friend. Seeing the 2 strong women and best friend in the family, he said it was normal. He was used to it. Yeah. Very good. Alfred took it, pretended to read it, and then made a perfunctory comment, and suggested, "Let's take a look at Michael's thesis." Oh, even though Leonard was always good-tempered, he was a little disappointed at this moment. He was indeed not the protagonist tonight. Even when there were only 3 Hofstadter men, the protagonist at the center would only be his genius brother Michael. Alfred naturally noticed Leonard's reaction and felt a little distressed. But even if he felt distressed, he was not going to comfort him. What else could he say? "You said that I, an anthropologist, could not understand your thesis at all? Doesn't that prove Beverly's words again?" Humanities and social sciences such as anthropology and sociology are not science at all. Otherwise, why can they understand anthropology papers, but anthropologists can't understand their physics, neuroscience, and biology papers? I'm not doing this for myself, but for the dignity of anthropology. With these thoughts flashing through his mind, Alfred felt much better and no longer entangled in his son Leonard's pitiful eyes. He is a good father who can snatch the treasure that his son made when he was a child. In fact, He has long been accustomed to giving himself a reasonable reason in an instant, just like the hug machine at the beginning. First, he borrowed it. Second, he borrowed it not for himself, but for this family, so that Leonard and his family would not have to bear the pain of family breakdown. Alfred secretly praised himself and took the paper handed over by his youngest son Michael. Well, this is a good paper, although there are too many professional terms, for him, a senior and cultured anthropologist. It does not affect his reading comprehension at all. So, Christmas Eve and paper night at the Hofstadter family finally evolved into three groups. Adam, Peggy, Beverly, and Rachel were having a heated discussion. After being yelled at by Beverly, Alfred and Michael spoke softly and talked about everything. The warmth between father and son was unusual. As for the last group, well, it wasn't really a group, only Leonard was there. He was holding his paper, looking at his mother and sister, then at his father and brother, wanting to cry but not having tears. Fortunately, he was professionally trained. He suppressed his sadness and didn't dare to cry out loud. After a while, Leonard suddenly grinned. Compared to being criticized and ridiculed in the past, tonight's quiet and unharmonious atmosphere wasn't that bad. So, Leonard went to Adam and the others, trying to get closer to them without disturbing them, pretending that he was one of them. After satisfying his sense of participation, he went to his father and brother, praising his brother's paper and his father's paper. Alfred almost burst into tears, and almost accepted this poor second son regardless of everything. But the dignity of anthropology needs his firm protection, so he can only pretend not to see it. Michael didn't have so many thoughts. As a law student, he certainly couldn't give any professional opinions on Princeton University's physics thesis. But he didn't need to understand it at all. It was enough to complain about the thesis from other angles. For example, Princeton University's Department of Physics has always ranked only 7th, while Caltech's Department of Physics has always ranked 1st. How about your thesis being placed at Caltech? The insecure brother bowed his head instantly. But he had suffered too many critical blows tonight, and he was in a sluggish mood. He had no mood to attack his stupid brother. This new therapy is indeed very valuable, Rachel said, but in each case, the degree of tumor erosion is different. The patient's physiological data is different. The immune system data is different. The response to the virus and the virus mutation are different. If such a complex non-standard mathematical model is required, it will be difficult to popularize it, right? Not every neurosurgeon can calculate it clearly. This is simple. Adam smiled and said, when the cases are rich enough, the mathematical model will be directly input into the computer, and the computer will be able to assist in the calculation. The cases are also enough to cover most of the cases, which is enough. Peggy's actuarial calculation is just to maximize the success rate and minimize the adverse sequelae according to the individual situation. And if this process continues, the demand for this actuarial calculation will become less and less, and the possibility that the computer can complete all calculations based on the database established by previous cases will become greater and greater. Perhaps when a perfect virus serum is developed, it will only target tumors, but will not erode any normal human tissues, causing any mutations caused by the human immune system. In that case, anyone can perform the operation. In other words, in the end, it still depends on us biologists to develop the perfect virus serum. Rachel smiled. The premise is that you can do it, Peggy said lightly. If that's the case, we don't need to waste time here, and we can devote our energy to exploring the true mysteries of the universe. By then, maybe a word from our mathematicians will cause the universe to explode and restart again. Rachel, very happy tonight. Seeing this, Adam began to smooth things over, said a few polite words, and got up and left with Peggy. They are both young geniuses, and they are both arrogant. It's the same sex that repels each other, and it's too easy to have conflicts when they stay together. Leonard sent them out. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 890. You all have a bright future. Leonard's house. Adam and the others were about to leave. Wait, you haven't read my paper yet. Michael chased out with his paper. This paper is his latest masterpiece and has been highly recognized by the professors of Harvard Law School. He wanted Adam and the others to take a look. Can you get me a pen? Adam glanced at Michael, who had a stubborn look in his eyes, and smiled at Leonard. I'll be right back. Leonard ran back. Adam took Michael's paper and turned the pages quickly. Here. After Leonard got the pen and handed it over, Adam looked at Michael with the pen in his hand. Do you mind if I make some comments? Haha, whatever. Michael laughed angrily. Who do you think you are? You should be moderate in pretending in front of beautiful women. You are a doctor, and you still want to make comments for my genius student at Harvard Law School, the rising star of the legal community? Pretend. Pretend. You are pretending now. But wait and see how I will slap you in the face in front of the goddess. Adam smiled and began to annotate the paper, then handed it to Michael and said, I think you should learn from Rachel and Leonard. Even if physics and biology are too difficult, you can also consider chemistry. These are natural sciences that are popular in the world and can make clear contributions to human progress. Law? It's just a word game, saying black and white, a toy for the rich. At this point, he looked at Leonard. Why would Beverly agree with him to study law? Isn't it said that he and Rachel are both the successful results of Beverly's education? Leonard was also stunned. You don't know until you say it, and you're shocked when you say it. He always thought that he was the most useless one in the family, and the sister and brother are the pride of the family. He dreamed of getting the same treatment from his mother as the sister and brother. Well, the sister is completely incomparable, but the brother, he always felt that he seemed to be not much worse than his brother, but he has always been extremely inferior at home, and he didn't dare to think deeply. Now that Adam pointed it out, he suddenly realized, that's right. His brother looks very good, but he studies law, which is not the natural science that best reflects intelligence and contributes to human progress. And his mother dislikes this kind of humanities and social sciences the most. His father is a clear proof. If this is the case, then whether it is from the age ranking or the academic achievement ranking, he should be ranked below his sister, not the last. He studies physics. He ranks second in the science contempt chain. How can he be overwhelmed by the humanities and social sciences of law? This is unfair. He should be his mother's good baby. Thinking of this, Leonard was so wrong that he almost cried. Michael's face turned red with anger at this. Just when he was about to say something, his eyes swept over Adam's comments on his paper and he was stunned. Then he looked through all the comments, and the more he read, the more stunned he became, and his face turned from red to white. Because these comments are not only not written randomly, but they are all to the point. Adam, a doctor, really understands the law, and his level is very high as a 5-story building. Combined with what Adam just said, this is a huge blow to Michael. Could it be that his achievements, which he was always proud of, were just because he was not good enough to study the more difficult natural sciences such as mathematics, physics, chemistry and biology? So he had to settle for second best. The scene suddenly became awkward. Adam smiled and took Peggy away. As soon as he got home, he received a call from Leonard. It's because of Aunt Diane, Leonard said in a complicated tone. She is my mother's sister and the most outstanding female defense lawyer in New York. They are exactly the same. Although my mother looks down on any humanities and social sciences, she likes this sister very much. She also has the same good impression of law. Therefore, she doesn't mind Michael studying law, since there is no problem with the subject. Michael's popularity at Harvard Law School and his bright future in the legal community have won her approval. And Michael can become a Supreme Court justice or even a president in the future. Although I studied physics, I am not the best. Don't underestimate yourself. Adam comforted. Your sister can become the best biologist, and your brother may become a Supreme Court justice or a president, but you will also have a bright future. How do you do it? Leonard smiled bitterly. I know my ability for theoretical physics, which is second only to mathematics, My brain is not enough, and I also like hands-on experimental physics. For my mother, even if it is physics, as long as it is not original, it is nothing. Experimental physics is at most a little better than my dad's anthropology, but not much better. I will never be my mother's good baby. Adam was speechless. How can he persuade this bastard? Does it mean that even if you are 60 years old, even if your brother can't become the Chief Justice or the Chief Commander in the future, no matter how much you argue, you will never be your mother's most beloved baby? If you really want to be one, then be reborn in a good life in the next life, and don't be reborn in your mother's belly. Otherwise, there will be no hope in the next life. Fortunately, Adam still has a trick. Do you want a lightsaber signed by Master Yoda? What he told Leonard stuttered when he heard it. The previous depression and sadness were swept away. Forget it if you didn't hear it. Adam smiled. I heard it. I heard it. I want it. I want it. Leonard shouted. Originally, I was planning to give you a lightsaber signed presented by Master Yoda to Master Leonard Hofstadter when you graduated with your doctorate. Adam smiled and said, now it seems that in order to make up for the loss of your hug machine and the sadness you felt tonight, I can only give it to you in advance. Oh, my lord, Leonard shouted, and the sound of him taking deep breaths came from the other end of the phone. It was obvious that the news was too shocking, and he had to use an asthma spray. Can you still hold on? Adam teased, or should I wait until you graduate with your doctorate before giving it to you? No, Leonard shouted, I want it now. How can a qualified Jedi Knight not have a lightsaber in his hand? Okay, Adam smiled. You will get it, Leonard. Merry Christmas. Oh, this Christmas, I am the happiest. Leonard was so moved that he almost cried. Thank you, Adam. Never be so absolute. Adam smiled meaningfully. When you have a girlfriend in the future and spend Christmas with you, will you say that the Christmas you got the lightsaber is the happiest Christmas you have ever had? Or, if you were asked to choose between your girlfriend and this lightsaber given to you by Master Yoda, which represents your identity as a Jedi Knight, what would you choose? Leonard paused and fell into an infinite angle. Ha ha ha. Adam hung up the phone with laughter. If you ask Sheldon this question, there will only be one answer. But if you ask Leonard, it will be interesting. This is Schrodinger's answer. You will never know Leonard's final choice until the last moment. Chapter 891, Carelessness on Christmas Eve. And hanging up the phone, Adam began to greet the new year in all aspects, starting with his family. Mother Amy, of course, complained that Adam didn't go home for Christmas. Father Bob, on the other hand, was proud of Adam's success. He also kept asking when the Lancet would publish Adam's paper. As a big man who loves to kill insects, he is now very good at talking about medical professional journals such as The Lancet, and as expected, he has already told all his relatives and friends. Judging from his tone, when The Lancet publishes Adam's paper, he will probably buy dozens or even hundreds of copies and put them in the most conspicuous places in his home and office. When he goes to other people's homes to kill insects, he will probably bring them with him, so that others can see them inadvertently. If he hears others' sincere praise, it is not impossible to negotiate a 10% discount on the insect killing. Then a group of younger brothers and sisters were called over by their mother. They all expressed high recognition for Adam. The eldest brother, who did not come in person but did not miss the gifts that suited their hearts, they all encouraged Adam to keep up the good work. As they chatted, Mother Amy began to care about who Adam would sleep with tonight, and Adam hung up the phone in time. Then he called Juno and the others. They didn't come this Christmas. The reason was very simple. They were blocked in Boston by their two families. Not only did Juno's father and stepmother come with her sister, but even Karen's parents, who were always elusive, suddenly came with Karen's trumpet. That's right, Karen has a sister, and it was Karen's parents who practiced the trumpet outside. Although it happened suddenly, who is Juno? She calmed down the two families one by one. The 8 people from the two families had a peaceful and weird Christmas. Although the parents of the two families were calmed down by Juno's high emotional intelligence words, they looked at the 4 children in the two families, and none of them were boys. Now Juno and Karen, who connect the two families, have a strange relationship. The 4 parents looked at each other with sympathy. At this time, Adam called. Everyone was shocked when they heard Adam's voice. Adam, Merry Christmas. Juno's stepmother grabbed the phone from Juno first and greeted Adam enthusiastically. Congratulations on your great achievements in medicine. You are Juno's best friend, and we, as Juno's parents, are also very proud. I heard that you often spend holidays together. You are good friends and colleagues, so you should keep in touch more often. Good, really good. Merry Christmas, Mrs. McGough. Listening to the meaningful words from the other side like a machine gun, Adam's mouth twitched, and he felt careless. At this moment, why should he make a call? But at this point, Adam could only bite the bullet and chat with Juno's stepmother for a long time before he ended the call under Juno's persuasion. But it was limited to Juno's stepmother, Juno's father, and even Karen's parents. Mr. and Mrs. Smith took the phone and had a good chat with Adam. In their words, they all encouraged Adam to keep in close contact with his daughter. In the end, even Juno's sister, who Adam was not very familiar with, and Karen's sister, who had never known her existence, grabbed the microphone and wanted to talk to their sister's good friend Adam. They knew Adam. The rescue of the cruise accident was broadcast live. Because the time was long enough, some of Adam's dazzling capital was collected as a supplement, which really allowed Adam to have a large-scale exposure in the whole range of me, especially among teenagers. It has a great impact. Boys who like to play are fine, just think Adam is cool enough, and many of them have the idea of studying medicine. Girls who like Yan all remember Adam, a handsome and powerful doctor who is said to be very rich. Juno's sister harassed her sister more than once, wanting Adam's phone number, but Juno suppressed them all. Karen's sister, it was the first time she knew that her sister was actually friends with Adam. The two little sisters were very excited and chattered all kinds of gossip. Adam could only deal with them while using another phone to send a message to Juno for help. Unfortunately, Juno's reply was to ask him to hold on. Adam had no choice but to gossip with them for more than half an hour before Juno came forward and ended the chat. He hung up the phone. Adam didn't want to call again to greet the new year, but looking at Peggy, who had already tied her hair into a ponytail, he struggled for a while. Adam still walked to Peggy's side, played with the bell on her ponytail, and then hugged Peggy and called Peggy's mother. Naturally, there was another round of greetings and various meaningful words. After the call, Adam simply went all out and called all the calls he should make. Heather and her family, Chandler and Monica and their family, Matthew and Lily and their family, and the Green family. When he called the Green family, Adam unexpectedly found that Mike Ross was there. After asking, he found out that Jill is really working hard now, and she even remembers to make up lessons on Christmas. Seeing this, Leonard directly invited Mike Ross to go to the Ellis nursing home to pick up his grandmother and spend Christmas with the Green family. According to him, it would be more lively with more people. But Adam immediately guessed Leonard's thoughts. It was clear that he hoped that Mike Ross could be his son-in-law. In fact, not only Adam guessed it, Rachel and Ross, who went home for Christmas, also guessed it. Ross was almost grinning to the sky. They were both sons-in-law, both named Ross, and Mike Ross was only a future son-in-law, but the difference in treatment was really too big. Ross Geller had no face at all in front of his father-in-law. Jill also answered the phone later and expressed her gratitude to Adam for hiring a tutor for her. With Mike's help, she was confident that she would pass the law school entrance examination in February next year. She couldn't wait to accidentally run into her Warren at Harvard Law School, and then pretend to be surprised to say something to him who was surprised to see her. "Ah, Warren, I forgot you were taking classes here." Then when Warren thought she had come to see him on purpose, she would gently wave her beautiful hands with the latest manicure and casually smile. "Of course not, idiot. I'm here to take classes." Then she would leave, leaving the stunned Warren with the most wonderful and shocking back view. She was excited just thinking about this feeling. This was also the motivation that had supported her to work hard and not even delay the makeup classes on Christmas. Adam listened to her description and immediately understood her. This was clearly the female version of the famous scene of breaking off an engagement and being slapped in the face. Warren Huntington, Danger. Chapter 892. Sheldon flooded the tax office on Christmas Eve. The last call was to Sheldon's home. "Mrs. Cooper, Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas, Adam." On the other end of the phone, Sheldon's mother said happily, I heard that you have developed a new cancer treatment. You are really the son of God and blessed by God. Thank God. Adam smiled in agreement. Although the real one to thank is Pluto. God and Pluto are dualistic and two sides of the same coin. It is the same to thank God. I'll call Shelley for you. Mrs. Cooper said a few more missionary words like believe in God and you will have eternal life. And then she helped Adam call Sheldon very conspicuously. Shelley tilde, hello. After a while, Sheldon's reluctant voice sounded. Shelley, what are you unhappy about? Say it out and make everyone happy. Adam teased, don't call me that. Sheldon immediately objected. Shirley is what my mother and grandmother call me. No one else is allowed to call me that. How can I be happy when I'm called home on a day like this? Haha, I forgot that you never like Christmas. Adam said so, but his expression was very happy. There is no Christmas at all. Jesus' birthday is in the summer, and later it was changed to the same day as a traditional pagan festival. Surely, Sheldon was about to repeat his view of Christmas when he was stopped by his angry and devout mother. Happy Newton Day. Sheldon didn't dare to disobey his mother and didn't continue to talk, but he still ended the conversation with a very representative sentence. Adam smiled. He knew what Sheldon meant. The birthday of the scientific giant Newton happened to be December 25th. Compared with Jesus who changed his birthday, celebrating Newton's birthday today is more in line with Sheldon's three views. He teased Sheldon a few more times and was about to give the phone to Peggy to let her say a few words, when the voice of Sheldon's brother George came from the other side. Adam, I don't like the current accountant, so I fired him. I plan to hire a new accountant after Christmas. You are the CEO, and personnel management is your right. Adam paused and smiled. As long as you don't hire a Sheldon as an accountant, I have no objection. Little George's tire doctor has opened 10 stores. Adam only invests and does not intervene in management. Of course, Assistant Ada will send people to check the accounts regularly to achieve basic financial supervision. Even if I don't open a company, I won't ask him to do my accounting. Little George complained, I don't want to be targeted by the IRS. Hey, I've been doing the family's tax return since I was 9 years old. Sheldon's dissatisfied voice came from the other end of the phone. If you show the tax returns I made to any accountant, I guarantee that they will say they are perfect. Even the IRS made a mistake and wanted to deduct more money from our family, but I rejected it. It's your honor to ask me to help you with your taxes. What you said is not wrong. Little George sneered. The tax returns you made are indeed perfect. But you dare to confront the IRS for a few dollars in tax. That's their fault, Sheldon argued. They finally admitted that they were wrong, and we don't need to pay the tax. Then our family was put on the IRS's key monitoring list and was investigated thoroughly. After that, we were the focus of investigation for 3 consecutive years. Little George complained, I don't want my company to enjoy such treatment. With your experience, even if you are a mathematician and do perfect accounting, if you really want to be an accountant, no one will hire you. If you don't believe me, ask Adam. Adam? Sheldon really asked. I thought your goal was the stars and the sea, the most fundamental secrets of the universe? Adam said seriously. What kind of accountant? Is that something you are qualified to do? You heard it. Sheldon smiled proudly at George. He is fooling you, George said bluntly. He is saying that you are qualified to be an accountant. No tilde. Sheldon's eyes widened, unable to believe it. Adam, tell the truth. George joked. Do you dare to let Sheldon do accounting for you? Of course I dare. Adam laughed. Sheldon's professional level is beyond doubt, but I am worried about his bladder. Ha ha ha. George laughed immediately. Missy's laughter also came over. At the beginning, Sheldon was determined to confront the tax bureau for a few dollars of tax, despite his father's obstruction, to prove that he was perfect in accounting and tax filing. As a result, when confronting face-to-face, the tax bureau found a loophole, which frightened Sheldon so much that he could not control his bladder and went to the toilet to urinate, although he later caught a statement and fought back, seemingly winning. But in Adam's opinion, it was more the people from the tax bureau who didn't want to argue with a child. Otherwise, many things are ambiguous. According to the lawyer, there is ample room for interpretation, aka black can be said to be white, and white can be said to be black. It all depends on whether the person is sharp-tongued and who the judge and the jury stand on. When it comes to the real fight, with Sheldon's bladder and his inflexibility in the law, he will definitely lose miserably if he is pressed. Harvard Law School professors like to use Socratic questions the most. For example, the professor asked, "Who said that the law is rationality without passion?" The student answered, "Aristotle." The professor would walk over and look at the student with a smile. "Are you sure? Are you willing to bet your life?" At this time, the student would most likely hesitate. "I think so." "Then what about his life?" The professor would point to another person and smile at the student. At this time, the student will be a little confused and dare not be so sure. "I don't know," because he suddenly is not sure whether Aristotle quoted others. After all, there are all kinds of tributes, plagiarism, and debates in the academic world. "Don't be too much." Then the professor will say with a smile, "Wait until you are sure before speaking." The law has room for interpretation, but it cannot tolerate self-doubt. By the way, this sentence is indeed said by Aristotle. Even lawyers are like this, not to mention the tax bureau that has independent armed forces, independent courts, independent prisons, and a one-stop power of life and death. If Sheldon is really dragged over, he can be sprayed and flooded by the tax bureau in a few seconds. Companies can indeed legally avoid taxes, but the premise is that they do not reveal how they legally avoid taxes. If the details of the entire process of tax avoidance are really revealed, it is 100% illegal. And Sheldon's mouth is completely a ghost that harms his own people. Howard's security review in the future. Howard drove the expensive Mars rover into a ditch to pick up girls. Leonard slept with a spy and almost exposed the secrets, and other secrets that could not be told were all told by Sheldon. It was because Agent Jesse Page was too lazy to investigate further, otherwise Leonard and Howard would become miserable because of Sheldon's mouth. No matter how perfect Sheldon's accounting and tax filing were, Adam would not let him get close to any of his companies and finances. Chapter 893 We are holding back Dr. Duncan, New Jersey. Peggy's apartment. After Adam mocked Sheldon, he sang the classic Christmas song in the joyful atmosphere. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle bells. Unlike Sheldon's weirdness, Adam adapts to the local customs and really falls in love with Christmas. It's a pity that happy days are always short. Adam watched Christmas end. The days rushed towards the millennium. New Year's Eve, Adam and Peggy's paper was officially published in The Lancet, and the cover was drawn by Adam. Medical Center. How romantic. Meredith held the cover of The Lancet, her eyes as blurred as ever. Fancy. Christina snatched it, looked at it, and complained, "If it were me, I would rather have my face on the entire cover. That would be the most romantic thing." "You're getting married soon. Don't be as independent as before." "Well, you have to start to have some team spirit." Meredith laughed unhappily. "You and Burke, you are on the same team." "I will always be me," Christina said confidently. "No one can change me." "Let's go." Meredith pulled Christina out. "Everyone is waiting for the ranking. Let's go and take a look." Nurse's station. A group of doctors gathered in front of the computer. "Stay back. You're taking away all my oxygen." Dr. Bailey, who was sitting in front of the computer, complained to Dr. Shept, who was leaning his head next to her face. "I'm looking at the screen," Dr. Shept said with a smile. "The results haven't come out yet. What's there to see?" Dr. Bailey said so, but his eyes were fixed on the computer screen. "The results should be out at 4 o'clock. Dr. Burke stood there with his arms folded. "It's 4:15 now." Mark Sloan sat directly on the computer desk and reminded. After the fracture healed, he became proud again. "Refresh. You should reload the webpage." Christina came over and reached out to touch the mouse. Bang! Dr. Bailey slapped Christina's hand and said unhappily, "Of course I know. I refresh every 10 seconds. Is the ranking not out yet?" Dr. Montgomery came over. "Not yet." Everyone sighed in unison. "Are the results out?" Chief Resident Kelly and George came over side by side and asked with a smile. "Not yet. Be patient." Everyone complained impatiently again. Dr. Duncan's performance this year is really outstanding. There is a big live broadcast of the rescue of the cruise ship accident, and a historic breakthrough in the new viral therapy for malignant glioma. Mark said leisurely, "With the participation of our top doctors, even if we can't win the championship, We should surpass the Mayo Clinic and become the second teaching hospital, right? Shut up, everyone shouted in unison. We will definitely be the first this time. Don't get excited. Mark was stunned, and smiled bitterly. I just mean that we will maintain the second place and hope for the first place. Yes, we will definitely be the first. Seeing that everyone was staring at him, he didn't dare to say anything else. He also wanted to be the first. It's just that the ranking of teaching hospitals is affected by many factors. This year, the situation of the medical center is very good, but it doesn't mean that it will be the first place. He can accept the second place. Refresh again. George stretched out his hand to click the mouse. Don't touch it. Dr. Bailey slapped it away again. Seeing that everyone wanted to touch her computer, she was angry and turned to look at everyone. Okay, all of you step back. Stop reaching out. Stop saying discouraging things. The ranking will come out when it's time, and I'll tell you when it comes out. It's out, Christina reminded. First, Hopkins. Second, Mayo Clinic. Third, Cleveland Clinic. Everyone looked at the ranking and read out the ranking in order. What? Exclamation mark. The chief of surgery also came over at this time, and when he heard that there was no name of a medical center in the top 3, his voice immediately soared to the sky. We are not first, not even in the top 3. Exclamation mark. Chief, fourth. We are fourth, George said weakly, but under the angry eyes of the chief of surgery, his voice became lower and lower, and finally disappeared, lowering his head and not daring to look at the chief of surgery. This is totally unacceptable. The chief of surgery walked to the computer desk, took a look himself, then picked up the phone with a dark face and dialed the number of the review committee. Everyone looked at him with bated breath. I'm Dr. Richard Weber from New York Medical Center. Is there something wrong with the ranking of teaching hospitals? The chief of surgery asked, suppressing his anger. Didn't Dr. Adam Duncan's achievements and influence get taken into account? Although his paper in The Lancet was published today, the surgery was successful a month ago. You should all know that. After clearly stating his attitude, the chief of surgery took the phone and listened to the explanation on the other end. Frowning deeper and deeper, the onlookers looked at each other with an ominous premonition. This ranking result was obviously not wrong. Director, what do you say? Seeing the chief surgeon hang up the phone with a dark face, Dr. Bailey asked in front of everyone, what's the reason? They said that if it weren't for Dr. Duncan's achievements and influence, our medical center would only be ranked 12th this year. The chief surgeon put his hands on his hips and looked around at everyone, his eyes cold and angry. No matter how great Dr. Duncan's achievements and influence are, he is just one person and cannot represent the comprehensive teaching level of the medical center. They said that even if Dr. Duncan went to the worst county hospital, he would probably perform about the same. Does it mean that the worst county hospital can transform itself and directly compete for the first place in the whole teaching hospital with Dr. Duncan? Don't joke. Ranking 4th is the limit. Everyone, we are holding back Dr. Duncan. A genius doctor like him should only stay in the first-ranked hospital. 4th, this is totally unacceptable. Unacceptable. After speaking, he left angrily. Everyone was silent for a while. There's still something wrong with this ranking. Seeing that everyone was in a bad mood, Mark couldn't help but say, even if Dr. Duncan can't represent the entire medical center, are we weaker than him? Dr. Shept, the best neurosurgeon in the United States. Dr. Burke, the best cardiothoracic surgeon in the United States. Dr. Montgomery, the best neonatologist in the United States. At this point, seeing that no one reacted, he could only keep winking at Dr. Shept, suggesting that Dr. Shept should praise him. Dr. Mark Sloan, the best plastic surgeon in the medical center, Dr. Shept said with a smile, and left. Mark's mouth twitched. Dr. Burke glanced at Mark, shook his head, and left. You're such a badass. Dr. Montgomery glared at Mark and turned away. It's all your fault. Dr. Bailey also glared at Mark, got up and left. Say less. Chief Resident Kelly also glared at Mark and complained, don't forget the pain after the wound has healed. This is what Adam often calls poison milk. Christina complained and glared at Mark. Then, before everyone left, they glared at Mark. Mark, P.S. I have something to do tonight, so I will only update twice today. Please forgive me. Chapter 894, Floating White Coat Medical Center. Adam came out of the surgery and then he learned about the ranking of teaching hospitals. He was a little surprised. We are only fourth. Adam, have you heard? We are only fourth. As soon as she met Christina, she started to complain. Fourth is already very good, not only in the top 10, but almost in the top 3, Meredith said casually, but she couldn't continue talking because Adam and Christina looked at her strangely. What's wrong? Meredith said unhappily. Nothing. As a best friend, Christina looked away and didn't say much. Meredith, be careful during this period, Adam kindly reminded. The director must be in a very bad mood. Don't run into his gun. Don't. Meredith's face suddenly darkened. What do you mean? Adam smiled but said nothing. The medical center has famous doctors and a good reputation. This year is even more glorious. How is it worse than the top 3? It can only be the comprehensive level of interns. After all, it is the ranking of teaching hospitals. The comprehensive level of interns is related to the ranking of comprehensive teaching results. Although Meredith is not bad, he is probably not as good as the excellent interns in the top 3 hospitals. Not to mention the transfer students like Devil Sadie. Devil Sadie is obviously not an exception. Of course, there must be similar quality doctors in the top 3 hospitals, but they are definitely better than the medical center. People who want to get in by quality must have relatively high quality. The chief surgeon, who had given Adam a bad blessing before, will definitely reflect on himself after suffering such a big blow. Think about it carefully. The chief surgeon really has to take the blame for this, because without his nod, people like Devil Sadie would not even be qualified to come in and try. When the chief surgeon reflected clearly, in addition to blaming himself, he was more focused on these serious drags. If he still had a little dream, he would definitely take action. The facts were just as Adam predicted. The next day, a shadow chief doctor appeared. When medical students are medical interns in hospitals, if they are interested in a doctor or a department, they will discuss with the doctor or the doctor in that department and follow the doctor around the clock. Become the other person's shadow, just watch but not say, and witness the doctor's work in all aspects. This method can quickly give a clearer and deeper understanding of the department of interest, which is convenient for medical students to make choices. Now the director of surgery has become a shadow. For most interns and residents, it means the devil is behind them. Think of an African American in a white coat, with a black face throughout the whole process, standing in the distance with his arms crossed and looking at this side. If the lights are a little dim, it can almost be a horror movie. Floating white coat. Just ask if you are creepy or not. Emergency. Sadie was about to give a patient an infusion, but the patient who was pierced by the needle screamed 3 times in a row, but the needle never went in accurately. Meredith glimpsed that the huge black shadow was getting deeper and deeper, and hurried forward to teach. When the needle was successfully inserted, Sadie breathed a sigh of relief and gave her bestie a grateful look. Dr. Luther, you don't even know how to do such a simple basic operation? Unfortunately, the shadow didn't let her go. He called her over and away from the patient, but in front of all the medical staff, he scolded her. What did you learn in medical school? The 3 kingdoms and yoga? The medical staff who saw this scene almost laughed out loud, but with Meredith's glare and reminder, they reacted. Even Dr. Sadie Luther, who has a strong background, was treated like this once she made a mistake, let alone them. So, they couldn't laugh anymore. Devil Sadie looked at the chief of surgery in disbelief. She really didn't expect him to be so disrespectful. Study hard, Dr. Luther. The chief of surgery looked at her deeply and said, if it's like this again, I can only say sorry. The medical center is a hospital with great dreams and always strives for the first place. There can be failures after hard work here, but there must be no more idiots who just get by. After that, without looking at Sadie with an ugly face, he turned and left. In the past, he would never do this. But now, Adam gave him confidence. Sadie's backers might be unhappy, but as long as he fights for the #1 teaching hospital with all his strength to keep Dr. Duncan, the board of directors will definitely stand on his side. Even Sadie's backers. Whether it is the fame and benefits that Adam brings to the hospital, or the fame and benefits that the reputation of the #1 teaching hospital can bring, The board of directors cannot refuse. No one can delay everyone from making a lot of money for a second generation who is just idling around. Be careful. After watching the fun, Christina, who was in a good mood for her bestie's former bestie who stole her bestie's attention, walked to Meredith and solemnly repeated Adam's reminder. The director doesn't seem to be joking. You think I'm not good enough, just like Adam? Meredith said angrily. It's not just you, Christina said straightforwardly, but except for me, you are undoubtedly dragging Adam's feet. Meredith almost died of anger. But soon, she couldn't get angry anymore, because Adam and Christina's reminders came true too quickly. At night, after participating in an operation, she reported the situation to the director as an assistant director. Vincent Gray was injected with 31 units of fresh frozen plasma and several liters of cyclophosphamide. We did everything we could, but we still couldn't save him. The director looked at her steadily, then looked away, shook his head, and said in a cold and angry tone, "You don't know anything, you are just a useless waste." At this point, he looked at Meredith again and scolded her, "You have been in the hospital for more than a year, but you think it is natural to stay in the hospital. You are wrong, Dr. Gray, very wrong. You can stay because of me. You have to listen to me here. I only ask you to save the patient, but you can't even do that." Richard, Dr. Shept, who noticed the movement here, just listened to the chief of surgery scolding his girlfriend at first, but seeing that the chief of surgery's words were getting heavier and more unpleasant, he couldn't help but come over and interrupt. "Not every patient can be saved. Adam can't do it. No one can do it." "But Adam worked hard enough." The chief surgeon shook his head and said, "We should work hard enough too." The news spread quickly. All the doctors understood that the chief surgeon was serious. Scolding the devil Sadie was a message to the doctors with backers. Scolding Meredith was a message to everyone including himself. Everyone knew that the childless chief surgeon vaguely treated Meredith as his daughter. Now he chopped his daughter with a knife without mercy. This determination and cruelty shocked everyone. Chapter 895 New Year, New Atmosphere, Medical Center. Before Christina could comfort her bestie, the chief surgeon's third knife slashed her body. Operating room. The chief surgeon, Dr. Dixon, and Christina were performing surgery together. "I saw a laceration on the renal artery," the chief surgeon asked while performing the surgery. "Yang, are you familiar with single-layer vascular suture?" "Yes, sir, of course," Christina said confidently. "The blood pressure is still dropping. Inject the maximum dose of adrenaline and continue the blood transfusion. Sew it here, Yang," the chief surgeon commanded. "Yang, how is your side?" "I can't do it. It just won't close." Christina panicked. "It's torn here." "Damn it, Yang, get out of the way," the chief surgeon shouted. "Didn't you say you've sutured this kind of wound before?" "I've sutured it hundreds of times." Christina was stunned. "It's on the heart." Dr. Dixon, who was in charge of the heart opposite, glanced at Christina. Yes. Christina was stunned. "Your forceps hurt the tissue." Dr. Dixon looked away and looked at the wound. "Your way of holding the intestines is incorrect. You are too focused on the heart, which is good, but the blood of the heart flows throughout the body. Only if you have mastered the general surgical knowledge comprehensively, you are qualified to specialize in the heart. You have not met the basic general surgical knowledge. You are not worthy of focusing on the heart now." Christina was speechless. Adam had said similar things more than once. Although she also spent time on surgeries other than the heart to strengthen her foundation, she was not too concerned in her heart. She was focused on the heart, and she had a top doctor fiancé like Dr. Burke who cultivated her wholeheartedly. She was already good at cardiothoracic surgery. She only needed to perform the first cardiothoracic surgery as the main surgeon to officially enter the door of her dream. But now she was denied by another famous cardiothoracic surgeon, and in front of the director of surgery who was holding back his anger and ready to kill the chicken to scare the monkeys at any time. What made her most cold was that these were indisputable facts. Because everyone knew that Dr. Dixon was honest, the other party would not lie. After she was stunned, she thought about it carefully and agreed with what Dr. Dixon said. She did subconsciously suture the rupture on the renal artery as if it were a rupture on the heart, but because of the different tissues, The operation details of the two are obviously different. Ignorance and weakness are not the biggest obstacles to survival, but arrogance is. Her arrogance almost killed a patient. The arrival of the millennium could not dispel the tense atmosphere in the medical center. The first day of the new year. The large conference hall of the hospital. All surgeons are present. Christina sat next to Adam listlessly, without the snacks and drinks that she usually prepared for seminars. Next to her was the listless Meredith. Next to Meredith was the listless devil Sadie. Adam glanced at the three people and laughed in his heart. These days, the chief of surgery has been using him as an excuse. In the past, he would definitely find the chief of surgery and ask him not to do this, because it would attract hatred. But Adam's growth rate was too fast, especially the publication of the cover article in The Lancet, which put a perfect end to Adam's life before the millennium. Now that the chief of surgery is talking about him like this, no one will hate him for it, because Adam's level has leaped to the point where they can't even think of it. And like the chief of surgery, he is not satisfied with the medical center ranking fourth. Even if the chief of surgery doesn't get angry, when he is ready to take over the position of chief resident after the new year, he will lead the reform of the medical center. Now that the chief of surgery has gotten angry in advance, it has saved Adam a lot of trouble, and this is also a good entry point. The overall teaching results of the hospital are lagging behind, and everyone is responsible except Adam. Chief resident Kelly is naturally no exception. She did not fulfill her responsibility to assist the chief of surgery and manage the hospital well. The time has come, and it is natural for Adam to take over. Everyone is busy, so I'll keep it short. The chief of surgery pushed the door open, walked to the stage, looked around at everyone, and said expressionlessly, "We are the top teaching hospital in the United States. This year, our hospital has shined because of Dr. Duncan. We have also recruited top doctors such as Dr. Shept, Dr. Montgomery, Dr. Dixon, and Dr. Sloan. We are fully qualified to compete for the top spot in the United States. But now, not only have we not ranked first, but we are not even in the top 3. We only ranked fourth. What a humiliating number. Everyone should ask themselves, would you rather be in the top teaching hospital in the United States, or the fourth teaching hospital? We are surgeons. It is our nature to always strive for the first place. Today is the first day of the new year and the first day of the millennium. It is the best day to start over, so I convened this meeting to convey a message to everyone. Our goal this year is to win the championship in one fell swoop. Everyone must work hard for it. I will continue to recruit more famous doctors and convince the board of directors to pay for more advanced equipment to further enhance our strength. And you, I need you to teach with passion and learn with passion. You all avoid general surgery, fearing that you will not see the heart and brain. It is as if the blood flowing out of the heart cannot flow throughout the body, or the nerves cannot reach the brain stem. You have not learned the real technology, and your foundation is seriously weak, which makes your medical skills very limited. This cannot go on. I declare that the physician training regulations have been officially changed. Some regulations are new, and some regulations need to be strengthened. First-year interns, second-year first-year residents, and third-year second-year residents are no longer allowed to engage in specialized clinical research. You must receive comprehensive surgical knowledge training. Personal relationships and personal preferences will not be allowed to appear in the training plan. Mentors must impart your knowledge equally to all doctors. The director of surgery give a speech on the stage. Except for a few people such as Adam and Dr. Dixon, no matter whether they were famous doctor mentors, interns or residents, they were all more or less alluded to. Their eyes flickered. The 4 children under Adam had different expressions. George smiled bitterly. Lexi looked at her half-sister, who was set up as a typical example, with worry. The little girl was calm and composed. Carter looked around with a smile on his face, quite proud. Those who used to complain that they were tired and unhappy following Adam now all had droopy faces, because according to the meaning of the chief of surgery, it was actually the rules that Adam taught. However, after all, they had to take into account the existing love affairs of the famous doctors, so they did not dare to cut it off completely. So it was not as thorough as Adam. But compared to the past, everyone's nerves will be tense. Once they don't work hard enough, The number of people eliminated will not be limited to the usual experience of 5 people collapsing and 2 people being persuaded to withdraw. It is not impossible for all the interns to be persuaded to withdraw and to recruit again. This millennium has made life difficult. Chapter 896 Adam's Angel, Medical Center. The new physician training regulations were officially launched. The island country medical team-style ward rounds began. Except for Adam, all residents who had interns brought their interns with them, followed the attending doctors, and walked in the corridors and poured into the wards under the watchful eyes of the chief of surgery. Although Adam did not join, one intern was sent in turn every day to follow the main group. There were 3 remaining. One was responsible for the outpatient clinic. One was responsible for continuing to follow the condition of patients with malignant gliomas, as well as updating and screening the new application list. The other followed Adam and worked in the emergency room. The 4 people took turns. Because Adam was in charge of everything and performed almost all surgeries, the 4 children who took turns to follow were equivalent to rotating in various departments. The chief of surgery naturally did not care about Adam's teaching. In fact, after half a year of high-intensity internship, the 4 children under Adam have begun to show their strength that has attracted everyone's attention, especially after the new team ward rounds began. Any of the 4 children who came to participate had a dazzling performance. The one who came today was Lexi. Barry Patmore, 63 years old, has suffered from severe pain for 7 years. He has taken strong anti-epileptic drugs, antidepressants and antipsychotics, but his condition has not improved. Meredith began to introduce the patient's condition in front of dozens of people. Mr. Patmore, is your headache severe today? Dr. Shep asked. The scale is 1 to 10. 8. The patient, Mr. Patmore, looked at everyone with boredom. It's always 8, for 7 years, without stopping for a single day. This is also Mr. Patmore's last consultation. Why do we recommend the use of double-sided singulotomy? Dr. Shep introduced. Excuse me. Lexi immediately raised her hand and questioned, using double singulotomy to treat headaches. Too noisy. The patient, Mr. Patmore, closed his eyes and shouted, "Can you stop the buzzing noise?" Sorry. Lexi lowered her voice, but double singulotomy may cause epilepsy, cognitive impairment or abnormal behavior. That's why we didn't act immediately. Dr. Shep explained, we can't take such an extreme and irreversible surgery before exhausting all possibilities. Do another check. Repeat, repeat, repeat again. The patient, Mr. Patmore, laughed at himself. I have an idea. Lexi raised her hand again. Go ahead. Dr. Shep glanced at Meredith and smiled at Lexi. The new physician training charter encourages all doctors to actively contribute their own wisdom and think boldly. The chief of surgery standing at the door also switched from expressionless to smiling. Everyone looked at Lexi. Well, I read an article about swelling and compression of the anterior ethmoid nerve in the British Journal of Otolaryngology. Issue 47, 1964, Commemorative Illustrated Edition. Lexi began to show off her photographic memory. We can insert a catheter into his nose. If there is a reaction, it is anterior ethmoid nerve syndrome, which can be cured by a simple partial resection of the middle turbinate. Will it work? The patient, Mr. Patmore, opened his eyes and said casually with a hint of desire, in the past 7 years, I have seen 16 otolaryngologists, and none of them mentioned this. You have to try it to know whether it works. Dr. Shep explained. As for why other otolaryngologists didn't mention this method, it's because this method is very niche and was only published once in 1964. We haven't read this magazine and we don't know about this method. But Dr. Gray also has a photographic memory. Since she said so, and it's a very simple non-invasive test, I think we can give it a try. Then give it a try. The patient, Mr. Patmore, said in a trembling voice. He had been suffering from level 8 pain for 7 years, and the cause of the disease had never been found. Just look at the medicine he took and you will know that he really tried everything. Now that such a new treatment suddenly emerged, he had a strong hunch in his heart. Maybe it would work this time. Let me do it. Mark Sloan stepped forward and smiled brightly at Lexi. Actually, I am also an otolaryngologist. Your idea is very interesting. That's right. In addition to being a famous plastic surgeon, Mark Sloan is also a certified otolaryngologist. Plastic surgery is for making money, and otolaryngology is for face. After all, in the medical contempt chain, plastic surgery is too shameless. Although otolaryngology is also at the back, it is always more prestigious than plastic surgery. It's a pity that he only learned it for nothing. He was so good at plastic surgery that he almost forgot that he was still a certified otolaryngologist. When the instruments were taken, Mark inserted a catheter into the patient's nose. "Tell me if you feel uncomfortable." "Ah!" The patient screamed out immediately after being touched, but everyone could hear the excitement and the pain. "Right there. My God, it hurts right there." "God, God, Dr. Gray, you must be an angel sent to me by God." "Well done, Dr. Gray," the chief of surgery praised. "Our hospital needs doctors like you." "I just read a little more books." Lexi was a little embarrassed to be praised like this, and said modestly, "Knowledge is power." The chief of surgery smiled and said, "Dr. Duncan also likes to read more books." "You and Dr. Melendez have a bit of Dr. Duncan's style. Keep up the good work." "Yes, Chief." When Lexi heard the chief of surgery compare her with Adam, she was immediately overjoyed. "Everyone, did you see that?" The chief of surgery looked around at everyone and said, "This is the wisdom of interns. As long as they study hard and think diligently, even interns may be able to solve difficult and complicated diseases that even famous doctors cannot solve." There was Dr. Duncan in front of us. There is Dr. Gray in the back. They are living role models right beside you. Isn't it worth your efforts to emulate them? After that, the chief of surgery looked at Lexi and smiled. "Dr. Gray, you will be Dr. Sloan's assistant and do this operation together." "A wise choice." Mark Sloan looked at Lexi with burning eyes and said, "Reward if you have merits, punish if you have mistakes." "Dr. Gray, I look forward to working with you to solve Mr. Patmore's pain and change his life." Lexi nodded, but her smile faded, because she felt that something was wrong with Mark Sloan's eyes. That was not appreciation for an excellent student, but the desire of a man looking at a woman. Thinking of Mark Sloan's fracture, Lexi couldn't help but feel disgusted. Mark has been around women since he was a child. He is good at understanding women's minds. When he saw Lexi's expression, his eyes froze. He thought of the last time a high school girl called him uncle and said he was as old as her father. "Am I really old?" Mark began to doubt himself. Or has the taste of women changed dramatically? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 897. No matter who looks most like Adam, the clever little guy is undoubtedly the medical center. As always, Adam's angel showed a performance that made people look at them with awe. This time, even Christina and Meredith felt great pressure. Damn photographic memory. As everyone walked to the second ward, Christina secretly complained to Meredith, "It's okay for Adam to have it, but even little Gray has it. This is really cheating." Meredith remained silent. The shock she felt in her heart was 100 times stronger than Christina's. In her eyes, since she was a child, her father chose Lexi and abandoned her. And now, the chief of surgery, who has always been a father, first scolded her loudly and spoke fiercely. Then he was so kind and appreciative of Lexi. This was simply a slap in her face from both sides. "Meredith, are you okay?" Christina noticed that her bestie was not in a good mood. "I'm fine." Meredith shook her head. As a professional who recorded Feng Zhongkao said, lying and self-isolation are signs of further deterioration of the disease. As a doctor, Christina obviously knew this, but she was still doing rounds, and the chief of surgery was watching her all the time. She was also a guilty person, so she could only suppress her worries and actively participate in the rounds. Jack Aubrey, 47 years old, was hospitalized for abdominal aortic aneurysm. The latest court showed that he had calcification, so I made an appointment for a court angiography to determine whether the tumor has worsened or remained stable. Christina reported skillfully. "Good job, Dr. Yang. You will take him to do it after the rounds." Dr. Burke took the medical record, glanced at it, and nodded with satisfaction. except that her basic skills were not as solid as those of famous doctors. Christina's medical skills could really be compared with those of ordinary senior residents. She was no longer limited to answering questions, but was more actively involved in the diagnosis and treatment process. This is the first step for doctors to practice medicine independently. Dr. Yang, your work is over. The chief of surgery walked in directly and interrupted. Dr. Gray will take over here. Christina was speechless for a while. Was she picked by her best friend? But she reacted quickly. The chief of surgery knew that she had mastered the diagnosis and treatment process of this disease, so he gave the opportunity to other doctors who had not mastered it, so that she could get in touch with other basics that she had not mastered or was unwilling to pay attention to before. Damn it, flat tire. Meredith pushed Mr. Aubrey in a wheelchair to do a court scan, but he was stuck there and couldn't move. She was in a bad mood and was spitting out foul language. Don't blame you, Mr. Aubrey comforted. It's my fault. This is the true portrayal of the objects around me. What? When Meredith squatted down to check the wheelchair, she heard him say this and looked up at him in confusion. Last month, my toaster broke, the cat ran away, and my back door fell down. Mr. Aubrey looked like he had laid down and said faintly, the TV can't receive any channels. It only shows green. I'll find you a wheelchair again. Meredith herself was a loser, and she had no intention of listening to another loser's complaints. Other people's bad luck could not alleviate her pain. Don't bother. Maybe it's safer for me to walk by myself. Seeing this, Mr. Aubrey stood up directly. No, Mr. O'Brien, you have to sit on the chair. Meredith looked back and immediately reminded him. This is the hospital rule. Boom. The unlucky old man Mr. Aubrey had already slipped to the ground and fell heavily on his buttocks. Mr. Aubrey, are you okay? Meredith didn't care about being sad anymore and immediately rushed over to help him up. It's okay, Mr. Aubrey said very calmly. I had 3 car accidents last year, and I didn't die. What happened? The chief of surgery rushed over after hearing the news. After hearing what happened, he first apologized to Mr. Aubrey in every possible way, and then looked at Meredith with a dark face. Go for a court scan, and then report his condition to me every hour. Dr. Gray, can you do it? I can. Meredith could only nod. Courtroom. Sorry, I seem to have caused you trouble. Mr. Aubrey is not the kind of person who will blame others. Of course, he also accepted his fate, and it was clear that his bad luck had implicated others. It's okay. Meredith could only smile bitterly. After sending Mr. Aubrey to the courtroom, the worried chief surgeon did not wait for an hour's report and followed him directly. How is he? Do you think we will face charges? I don't think so. He is not that kind of person. Meredith did not want to look at him. As soon as the voice fell, the court machine in the courtroom was paralyzed with sparks and lightning. Meredith's mouth twitched, and he completely believed that Mr. Aubrey was an old unlucky guy. After the chief surgeon led people to rescue him, I am very sorry, Dr. Gray, you have to serve him like a king. The chief surgeon was almost incoherent. Did you hear that? Mr. Aubrey, you are our most important patient today. I will ask Dr. Duncan to perform surgery on you personally. Thank you. Mr. Aubrey was very kind and accepted the apology and kindness of the chief surgeon with a self-deprecating smile. My wife left me, my accountant cheated me of all my money, and the place where I worked was burned down. I was diagnosed with an aneurysm, and this hospital seems to be against me. God really hates me. Don't worry, everything will be fine when Dr. Duncan comes. Meredith also temporarily put aside her sadness and tried her best to comfort him. Dr. Duncan is known as Adam's hand and is recognized as God's favorite. With him, your luck will definitely improve. With Mr. Aubrey's bad luck, Meredith suddenly felt that her affairs seemed not so important. She was wrong. Other people's misfortunes can really dilute one's own misfortune. Adam was taking Carter for surgery. When he heard the request of the chief of surgery, he said he knew. And Mr. Aubrey's legendary unlucky experience soon spread throughout the hospital. The little man who was following Adam's clinical research project, his eyes lit up when he heard the news, and he went to Mr. Aubrey with the latest patient application list. What are you doing? When Meredith saw what the little man did, she was stunned. I just want to ask Mr. Aubrey for a favor. The little man glanced at Meredith calmly. It's okay. Mr. Aubrey smiled. I'm happy to help. You really have the style of Adam. Meredith gritted his teeth. Thank you for the compliment. The little man smiled slightly. Dr. Duncan has always been my idol and goal. Meredith looked at Mr. Aubrey helplessly, took the pen given by the little man, and checked the lucky person who Mr. Aubrey thought should be treated first on the application list brought by the little man. The application ranking was rearranged. This operation is really Adam. Chapter 898. Death is coming. Holding up the sky with one hand. Medical center. Nice. When Adam came out of the operating room and knew what the little guy had done, he gave a classic admiring look. No matter if it was bad luck or good luck, different paths lead to the same destination. As long as it reaches the extreme, the magic of application lies in one's heart. Using the old unlucky guy to resort the application list greatly improves Adam's success rate in the next clinical research. This wave of operations is in line with Adam's constant recitation of the mantras of the Hades in the operating room, and the extreme reverse poison milk. The little guy's cleverness is really amazing. Melendez, take Mr. Aubrey to do preoperative preparations. Adam ordered. Follow me into the operating room later. Yes. The little guy nodded and pushed Mr. Aubrey away. What about me? Meredith asked. You? Adam smiled and said, forget about this operation. Since the little guy has completed the screening with Mr. Aubrey, then it's time to turn bad luck into good luck. He doesn't want the operation to fail. Why? Meredith stared at Adam. You have a problem with me too? You think too much. Adam said sincerely. You also know that Mr. Aubrey's luck is really too bad. Although I am known as Adam's hand and my luck is always good, I guess it is only enough to barely offset Mr. Aubrey's bad luck. If you are added, your recent luck is not as bad as Mr. Aubrey's, but it is really not good. I am afraid that I can't offset the two of you. Meredith was so angry that she trembled all over. Can I find you after the operation? Adam comforted. I'm really not targeting you, but luck is something mysterious and you really can't ignore it. You should know it best. Not long after the internship, you didn't want to come to work one day. I barely came here, and a bomb almost exploded. If I don't pay attention to these things, the bomb will enter the hospital, and even the operating room. At that time, the operating room connected to oxygen will be blown up by a bomb, and the whole hospital will fly into the sky. Meredith turned and left. She understood the reason, but she was still angry. Adam just smiled at this. What he said was from the bottom of his heart. As a doctor, if you don't pay attention to the mysterious feeling, it will easily go wrong. Adam took the little man into the operating room. Not long after, the whole hospital was in chaos. Because of the water leak, Mr. Aubrey slipped and fell because of the water leaking from the roof, which made the floor slippery. When taking a court scan, the court machine was scrapped with sparks and lightning, which was also caused by the water leaking from the roof and dripping into the court machine. The person in charge of repairs proposed to shut down the sluice for inspection, but the director of surgery disagreed. Because once the water is stopped, the utensils cannot be cleaned, and the operating room needs to be completely shut down. This is a complete accident. Therefore, the director of surgery asked the person in charge to inspect without shutting off the water. Even though Dr. Bailey reminded the director of surgery, my son was naughty at home and stuffed his toys into the toilet, and then the whole kitchen was flooded, and it was toilet water. The director of surgery frowned when he heard about the toilet water, but still disagreed to immediately shut down all operating rooms and send patients to other hospitals, because this noise was too loud. Besides, this is not the first time. Buildings in New York are dozens or hundreds of years old, and some are even older. It is already very respectable that they have not collapsed completely for such a long time. The current water leakage is just a minor problem. The landlord has no surplus food. Just patch it up for another year. Therefore, the chief of surgery said that everything is under control. Then as a floor slab completely cracked, the entire floor began to be flooded. The hospital was in chaos. The chief of surgery still only closed 2 operating rooms and moved the patients to other floors without water. Operating room. Adam was taking the little man to perform surgery on the unlucky old man, Mr. Aubrey. "You can open the retractor a little more if you want to see more clearly." Adam smiled while performing the surgery. He wanted to say, "Just don't get the small intestine out." But when the words came to his lips, Adam swallowed them again, because he didn't know which direction the wind was blowing. Adam didn't say anything to avoid poisoning his mouth, or poisoning his mouth in reverse. "He thinks he is an unlucky guy." The little man was about to speak. Silence. Adam interrupted immediately, then looked up at the ceiling. "Damn it." In bullet time, watching a drop of water dripping slowly from the crack in the ceiling, Adam cursed inwardly, quickly ran to the side, lifted up the table and chairs, and blocked the top of the operating table. "Get out of the way, the ceiling is going to fall down," Adam shouted at the people who had not yet reacted. Fortunately, Adam's prestige was high enough. Although everyone did not react, they all subconsciously obeyed Adam's orders and dodged around. Crash! The crack in the middle of the ceiling burst open under the water pressure. The water mixed with the cement fragments and crashed down. Mr. Aubrey on the operating table had his chest and abdomen opened wide, and there was no time to move. If Adam had not raised the table and chairs in time to block the rubble and dirty water, once it hit Mr. Aubrey's open internal organs, there would be no need to think about it. He would definitely be finished. This kind of death is quite like the feeling of the Grim Reaper. After the operation, Adam was ready to check if Mr. Aubrey had almost boarded a plane that was about to crash, but luckily escaped in advance. "Is everyone okay?" Adam quickly scanned everyone and saw that no one was injured, so he ordered, "The patient's vital signs are stable. Inform the director that we need another operating room." "Yes." The nurse responded and left. Adam took the little man and began to transfer the patient. Although he blocked the blow of the god of death, the operating room had been completely contaminated and was no longer suitable for surgery. This was also the final blow to the confidence of the chief of surgery. After he got the news, all other operating rooms except the operating room Adam had just transferred to and the operating room he was currently operating in were closed. All patients were transferred to other hospitals. Obviously, the hospital's minor repairs were no longer helpful, and it needed to be closed and overhauled. In the new operating room. "What is this?" The little man followed Adam to check the patient's chest to prevent any tiny fragments from falling into the patient's chest, and then saw something strange about the pancreas. "Is it damaged by the fragments?" "Take another look," Adam reminded. "Is it a malignant tumor?" "Son of the bitch." The little man took a closer look and looked at Mr. Aubrey, who was lying on the operating table, with sympathy. He had just escaped death, and his abdominal aortic aneurysm was about to be removed very smoothly in Adam's hands. Now a malignant tumor has appeared on the pancreas. This bad luck is unmatched. Even the usually calm little man couldn't help but feel sorry for the patient Mr. Aubrey and called him a son of the beach. Chapter 899. Continuous Operations. Medical Center. Operating Room. "Go for a biopsy right now. Expedited." Adam took the biopsy tissue and asked the nurse to send it for expedited testing immediately. He had a strong hunch. Not letting Meredith join the operation was definitely the wisest choice. Mr. Aubrey was already unlucky. Adding Meredith to the mix, it was really a case of Taylor Swift buff, and he was gone. "Pancreatic cancer, stage 1. The nurse came in with the test report. "Praise Meredith." Adam took the nurse's hand, glanced at the data in the test report, and smiled. "This is also a medical miracle. Pancreatic cancer has never been discovered at such an early stage. Is Mr. Aubrey's luck turning?" The little man also understood the meaning and exclaimed. "When pancreatic cancer is discovered, it is usually too late to save it. Discovering it at such an early stage is already a medical miracle. It looks like, after we remove the pancreatic cancer, Mr. Aubrey won't even need chemotherapy." Adam nodded and smiled. "So, yes, Mr. Aubrey's luck has really turned. After Mr. Aubrey wakes up, I'll ask him to help us screen again." The little guy was very eager to catch a sheep and pluck all its wool. Adam nodded with a smile, looking at the little guy with appreciation. After resorting, you can persuade him to buy Powerball lottery tickets. You can buy some with him. Maybe you will be financially free in an instant. Dr. Duncan, can we buy with him? The anesthesiologists and surgical nurses were also worried. You can buy together, but you must not exceed the amount Mr. Aubrey bought. Adam suggested with a smile. You are following his good luck and trying a lucky lottery, but you can't steal the show, otherwise it will be meaningless. Listen to Dr. Duncan, the anesthesiologist said very experiencedly, and it is limited to this operating room. Don't spread it out, otherwise there will be not enough luck to share. Then he looked at Adam with a smile on his face. Thank you, Dr. Duncan. If I achieve financial freedom this time, I will definitely be obsessed with medicine. Haha. Adam smiled slightly and did not comment. If it is a special prize, it will easily be hundreds of millions or even billions. Excluding Adam, there are 3 nurses, an anesthesiologist, the little man, and the lucky son Mr. Aubrey in the operating room. The 6 people share it equally, and everyone can get a prize of tens of millions or even hundreds of millions. With so much money, the little man may still be obsessed with medicine. Given the sophistication shown by the anesthesiologist, it would be a miracle if he could be obsessed with medicine. The operation continued in this cheerful atmosphere. Adam removed the entire pancreatic tumor as a whole without any accidents. Dr. Melendez, why aren't you excited at all? After the operation, the anesthesiologist and 3 surgical nurses surrounded the little man, wanting him to persuade Mr. Aubrey to buy Powerball lottery tickets and buy them for them. I don't think I can win the special prize, the little man said calmly. That's not necessarily true, the anesthesiologist immediately retorted. Haven't you seen Mr. Aubrey's legend? He was so unlucky at first, and then so lucky. Now relying on his luck, we can definitely win the grand prize. Yes. Even if it's not the special prize, I'll be satisfied with the first prize. The surgical nurses chattered. That's $1 million, and it can be doubled to $2 million. I believe it's Dr. Duncan's luck, the little man reminded. It was Dr. Duncan who really saved Mr. Aubrey. Then why don't we let Dr. Duncan buy it too? The anesthesiologist hesitated. Dr. Duncan won't buy it. A nurse shook her head and said, he doesn't need this little money. Otherwise he wouldn't have asked us to buy it. Dr. Melendez, are you going to buy it or not? The anesthesiologist was worried about the outcome and couldn't help but feel a little irritated. Buy it. The little man looked at him and said, this is a benefit given by Dr. Duncan. Of course I have to buy it. The anesthesiologist. The little man waited for Mr. Aubrey to wake up and told him the good news. He first asked him to sort the list again, and then suggested that he buy Powerball lottery tickets. Mr. Aubrey had lost his job due to extreme bad luck, and his property and wife also ran away with the accountant. He was left with nothing. Hearing this suggestion, he naturally agreed happily. He thought of a set of numbers at random, spent $2, bought a Powerball lottery ticket, and then added 10 times. The little man remembered the numbers and bought the same numbers and added 2 times. The anesthesiologist and nurses, reminded by the little man, did the same operation, and the additional multiples were all 2 times, because the Powerball lottery special prize cannot be added with multiples. The first prize of $1 million, no matter how many times you add, the highest prize is 2 times $2 million. The remaining second prize of $50,000. There is a big difference between adding 2 times and adding 10 times. But if everyone buys like this, it is impossible to distinguish the main and the secondary. Let them buy by themselves, relying on their luck. It is simply too difficult to win the second prize. So they resisted their greed and only added 2 times, highlighting Mr. Aubrey's dominant position. The lottery time in New York is every Wednesday and Saturday at 10:59 p.m. Today happened to be Wednesday. It was already evening after the operation. The anesthesiologist took the nurses to watch the Powerball lottery. Yes. When the Powerball lottery first opened 2 white balls, corresponding to the numbers they bought, they could no longer hold back and shout. Then they shouted once for each number, and the sound became louder and louder. Because it means they are getting closer and closer to the jackpot. No. After all 5 white balls were drawn and all matched, the red ball was drawn, but it was wrong, and everyone screamed in pain. Although each of them won the first prize and received $2 million, but they felt that they had missed out on hundreds of millions. It was just a difference of one red ball. This taste was too sour. Damn federal tax. Damn New York state tax. Damn personal income tax. The anesthesiologist just calmed down a little from the sour feeling of losing hundreds of millions, and then screamed and cursed again, because the federal lottery tax is first deducted at 24%, then the state tax is 6%, and finally the personal income tax is 38%, which means that in the end, only 32% is left in their hands, which is $640,000, from a billionaire, to a 2-millionaire, and then to a half-millionaire. This is a big ups and downs. If a person is not in good health, he will most likely have a heart attack or a stroke. Of course, they will eventually return to a happy mood, because after all, this is $640,000 for free. For the anesthesiologist, it is equivalent to him getting 3 years of salary for free. For nurses, it is equivalent to getting 7 or 8 years of salary for nothing. How can they not be happy? The little man directly put into the final joyful emotion, and then sincerely thanked. "Thank you, Dr. Duncan. You deserve it." Adam smiled, checked one end on Mr. Aubrey's first sorted list, and then checked one end on his second sorted list. P.S. Thanks to book friend 20210421150355007 for the reward. Chapter 900 Elf Archer Peggy Medical Center. With the help of Mr. Aubrey's good fortune, Adam selected 2 lucky clinical research candidates, but this will be delayed for a week, because the overall overhaul of the hospital will take a week. The hospital was flooded and the ceiling of the operating room fell down, completely destroying the hospital management's thoughts of repairing for another year. They spent a lot of money and hired professionals. They are ready to spend a week to clear all the blind spots and safety hazards in the hospital's infrastructure. The surgeons rarely have a week to rest. "Adam, let's go hiking together," Dr. Shept invited enthusiastically. "Camping, fishing, and being a mountain idler." "Yes, Adam, let's go together." Dr. Burke also agreed. "It's very interesting. You are traveling as a couple." Adam smiled and said, "It's not appropriate for me to go. Why don't you bring Dr. Adler with you?" Dr. Shept smiled. "Then I have to ask for instructions." Adam did not agree immediately, but he did not refuse. It has been a year and a half since he graduated from medical school and came to the medical center. He really has not participated in a team-building activity. This didn't seem to be a good idea, so he was still inclined to participate, but he wasn't sure if Peggy was willing to go. That night, Adam followed the principle of Leonard asks afterward and asked Peggy. This was also a classic skill of getting along between men and women that Leonard, a clever guy, figured out. When a man is not sure about a woman's attitude, he must ask questions that may make her unhappy afterward. Otherwise, once the woman is unhappy, there will be no before and after. "Okay." Peggy opened her eyes and said, "I'm quite interested in your hunting together in the forest." "Really?" Adam was a little surprised. "Yeah." Peggy closed her eyes again and responded lazily. She fell asleep soon. Looking at the elf-like Peggy, Adam had a strange feeling in his heart. He got up and left the bedroom, called his assistant Lisa, and took the time when she got up and came over, took a pen and paper, and started drawing. "Boss," Assistant Lisa came over with an open mouth. "Lisa, find someone to make this dress, and make it according to Peggy's size." Adam handed the finished drawing to Lisa. "Boss, you called me here in the middle of the night just for this." Lisa took the drawing and looked at it. She couldn't help but complain. "You were exaggerating, aren't you?" "No way. When inspiration comes, I have to record it." Adam ignored Lisa's complaints and smiled. "Well, make 10 sets of each first. I'm going on an outing with Peggy tomorrow, and it should be over the day after tomorrow. Wait for my call and send it over. ... What about this bow?" Lisa saw that complaining didn't work on Adam, so she could only endure the countless complaints and began to seriously consider how to execute it. "The style must be exactly the same," Adam said solemnly. "The material must be good, and it must have real lethality." "Well, it is a real bow. Wait for my call and send it over." "Boss." Lisa looked at the drawing. Based on her familiarity with Adam, she already had a sense of the picture, and couldn't help but call out. Adam looked at her, waiting for her question. "You're really good at having fun," Lisa had a lot to say, but in the end she only said this. "It's okay." Adam smiled reservedly. He stayed in the hospital every day, treating illnesses, saving lives and prolonging life. Why? Isn't it to live a carefree life? It happened that the hospital group was camping outdoors, and Peggy's conditions reminded Adam of this. Of course, he had to act immediately. Lisa, who was blessed, could only follow Adam's instructions and contact professionals overnight to design and manufacture, and send it to Adam the day after tomorrow. Fortunately, it was just a novel style, which was too simple for professionals. As long as the money was in place, it would be completed without any difficulty by working overtime. The next day, Adam drove Peggy to the downstairs of Meredith's apartment. "Director?" As soon as he arrived, he saw the chief of surgery in casual clothes, wearing a hat and carrying a bag walking over. Adam was surprised. "Get away from the city, go out for some fresh air, go to the nameless roads with no people, go to strange places, be a real man in the mountains and forests. How can I be missing?" the chief of surgery said excitedly, and then he saw Peggy in the car and was stunned. "Dr. Adler, are you coming too?" "Yes." Peggy nodded. "Are you bringing your family?" The chief of surgery winked at Adam and asked in a low voice, "Are you not bringing your family?" Adam was even more surprised, and almost didn't ask, "Who invited you?" The chief of surgery froze. Then his face became more and more embarrassed. Coming towards him were Dr. Burke and the reluctant Christina, then Dr. Shept and Meredith, then George and Kelly. "I remember, I have something else to do at the hospital." The chief of surgery finally understood why Dr. Burke had such an embarrassed expression when he heard him say that he also wanted to join yesterday. "It seems that this is a couples team building, not a picnic for men in the medical center." "Hi, everyone." At this time, Mark, wearing sunglasses, also came over with a bag. The chief of surgery was even more embarrassed. "If I had known, I would have kept it to myself." "He is not the only one who is single. Are there any others?" Adam asked curiously. "Yes," George said enthusiastically. "I also invited Dr. Bailey. She and Mr. Tucker are going to take little George on an outing to enhance their relationship." Dr. Shep's face froze. He was the real initiator. Originally, he only invited Dr. Burke and Adam to organize team building for 3 couples, but who knew that it would be endless. This is indeed the case. When George, the enthusiastic big mouth, was invited by Meredith, everyone in the hospital knew what they should and shouldn't know, and they all actively expressed their desire to participate in this group activity of hospital surgeons. When they finally drove out of New York, it was a huge convoy. At the foot of the mountain, everyone stopped the convoy. Then they cheered and started climbing the mountain. "What are you carrying?" When Christina saw Adam take out a huge bag from the trunk, her eyes lit up. As soon as this was said, everyone looked over, because they were very interested in Adam's various money-making abilities and equipment. "What about the compact surgical Duncan protective suit and the all-purpose Duncan first aid kit?" "That's really amazing. It's the tent, fishing rod, food, and some spare supplies." Adam laughed. "What spare supplies?" Christina asked. "I'm sure there will be a scalpel." "Yeah," Adam nodded. "As a doctor, it's reasonable to carry a set of medical supplies with me wherever I go. After all, I still have some strength. It's better to be prepared." "What else?" Meredith glanced at Peggy and became interested. "Bow and arrow." Adam thought about it and said frankly, "I plan to teach Peggy archery." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.